god, we can totally make one of these.
I don't even think I'm enjoying this.
No, I like it.
And we did, and it's fantastic.
I adore this game. It is perfect.
The following is brought to you by loudspeak.com.
ChairShot Podcast is here, listeners. The Yuletide season is past. Not sure how that's spelled, but I know that's how it's said. The new year approaches, 2014.
Yuli TD.
And with this comes another year of the ChairShot Podcast. With me, one of your hosts, Barry Murphy. Hello. And joining me as always are my ever-dependable co-hosts. First of all, Mr. Joe Towner.
Good evening, Barry.
And of course, rounding out the trio is Mr. Paul Griffin.
Push the talk.
Push the dog.
My throat is sore and my nose is all stuffy and I'm hungover and
Oh, you're such a moaner.
Oh, because life is so hard is why. Also, I'm having trouble with my headset.
What's the problem?
It's actually nothing pertaining to the show, but the headset I use for the show is also my gaming headset, and one of the wires on the PS3 is busted, which means I can't use the headset anymore. It's just a simple case of replacing the wire, and I still feel like going into the wire shop and buying
The wire shop.
a composite cable for $5.
One wire, please.
When coincidentally, I didn't even say it there, but my mum also got me nice new headphones for the telly for Christmas, so they get the job done. And the headset itself still works, as evidenced by the fact that I'm recording this lovely podcast for you listeners. But yes, I'm struggling on. I apologise if I sound worse than usual. It's not an internet problem or a microphone problem. It's that my nose is all stuffy and my throat is all sore and that.
Can I just say as well?
And I killed myself with alcohol.
We normally start recording this at 8 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday. It's now 8:43, and we've spent the better part of 40 minutes trying to figure out an alternative recording method, because we know there's an echo when we use Mumble. So we went to Google Hangouts, couldn't figure that out. Back to Skype. I went down and got the other computer to try and record from Skype, but since I have a new headset, that wouldn't work. So in the end, we gave up, and here we are again on Mumble. And it easily records it. It might not be pristine, but it worked better than all the other things we tried.
God damn it, it does record it.
Yeah. So what I want is Scott McAvoy in the 3 minutes a day he doesn't work, right? Is send us a lovely detailed explanation, because you're the one who told us to use Google, how to do it. Because we were in the call together and Joe took a photo of nothing. We couldn't figure out how to record the audio off it.
Also, Google Hangouts killed my computer, but that's just my shitty computer.
So there you go.
Well, you can still hear me. It was still working at least.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, fuck life. So we're having these recording issues, yeah. But
I'm going to spend the whole of the next week researching how to record podcasts.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think everyone's kind of at a loss currently since Skype started putting their foot down on recording gimmicks.
Yeah.
Assholes.
When Bill Gates dies.
I'm pretty sure he did. That was big news.
Okay.
They got Ashton Kutcher.
Oh yeah, they did the movie with Ashton Kutcher. Yeah.
Anyway, listeners, we got a big show for you this week, as we said last week. Not only have we got our year-end awards, right? We're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about The Last of Us some more and how great that is, and Breaking Bad. No, we're joking. They're wrestling awards. We also have, I believe, a collection of older awards that will take an amusing stroll down memory lane and reflect on last year's choices and even earlier than that, if possible. And I don't believe we're going to talk any telly at all because life's too short, basically. Not TV show.
No TV talk this week. So if you want to listen to people talk about
Christmas Raw,
Santa versus Santa, you need to go to wrestlingpodcast.com and listen to their review.
Well, I watched Impact.
Why?
It's great. Oh, Impact's brilliant.
Oh, no, because they've got a British World Champion, huh?
Yeah, and a British Chief of Staff.
And the Bromans.
They're not British.
Oh, they might as well be. They're that good.
Rockstar, you know how Rockstar Spud will be the new Doctor Who?
Did you watch that new Doctor Who, Joe?
Yeah.
Any use?
Yeah, it's alright.
It wasn't, was it?
It was still Doctor Who.
I'll tell you what I did enjoy. That UFC for the breaking his leg. that was hilarious.
I tell you what, I came home pissed at like 4 o'clock this morning and I turned that on. I was like, oh, what? I'd go back to Dave.
It nearly put him off his kebab. Not quite, but...
I tell you what, though. I won €7 on that fight.
Woo!
So, I wasn't too upset.
Yeah.
Well, I was very, very upset. But then I was like, oh, but money. So,
£7.
Yeah. I won €15 yesterday on bets. Doing bets on the internet.
Awesome.
The old online gambling.
Oh, yeah. Well, that game.
Yeah. I made 7 bets. No, I didn't. I made 8 bets, right? €3 pop. And I got 7 of them right. Making a tidy sum of €15. I got 1 wrong. And that also cost me the accumulator, which would have won me €55. But, you know. Swings and roundabouts. I still turned the tidy profit, and then I'm not going to do it anymore. So get rid of the account.
Get out when you're ahead.
Yeah, quit when you're ahead. Very much.
I still get emails from what's the bookmaker, Ben Hill? Is this? No.
Isn't it Bernard Hill?
Whatever. Yeah, they still email me from that one accumulator I put on like Money in the Bank, I believe it was.
Oh, really?
So not worth it. But yeah. I'm glad you made some cash money for the festive season.
Yeah. So that'll be going to the old PS4 fund. Coming early this year, hopefully. One thing that I've gone back and forth on. I want to get your guys' opinion. Would it be a better idea to order the PS4 online and get it delivered to my work and risk the box getting all jumbled about and so on? Or would it be better to go into HMV and buy it directly, but risk wasting a trip or two going in to find it's not in stock?
You won't go in and find it's not in stock. I mean, I realize you live in Kildare, but come on.
Don't you just ring them first?
It's not in stock now.
Oh, well, you live in Kildare. I would say that in 2013, as difficult as it is to record a fucking podcast, they know how to deliver a thing properly and not. They're not gonna fuck your PS4 off the back of the truck outside your house and go. He'll get it.
Well, I'm gonna get it delivered to my work. Is it
even better then?
Yeah.
Although I must say, I think I told the story at the time on the show that my last few orders from PWG have been hidden under my mat and I could have stepped on them because I wasn't there to pick them up, and literally thrown through my window.
Oh wow.
Well, it was the open window on top of like I have this little sitting room window that we don't close like in the middle of the day. Very small, just big enough for the DVDs to fit through. And yeah, they just threw them in with a bang and a wallop. I heard them because I was home. I was upstairs and I had headphones in and I heard the crash. And I came down and found them. But yeah, I'm sure they'll take more care with your PS4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sort of leaning towards just ordering it online, because even if it's not in stock online, you could put in the order and go, order me that, and when it's in, they send it to you. Whereas I'm the kind of person who can't be bothered ringing up HMV going, excuse me, do you have the PlayStation yet? You know, talking to some snotty-nosed 19-year-old idiot. And then have to go in and go, oh, do you kick my PlayStation for me? And then and the other thing is I'd have to get the bus in, so I'd be carrying it home on the bus, getting the eyes from everyone. Look at him with his big PlayStation. I don't want to go through all that.
Put it in the bag.
I just want to go to work, get an email, going, Paul, your PlayStation's here, and I go get it, and then walk home after work, and there I have it. I'll keep you updated then on how that story proceeds. I'll probably order it over the next few weeks, because I want to have it for when Infamous comes out.
Yeah. I played some PS4 last night.
I've never played it. I've never held the controller. They only have the Xbox One in Leafy Valley.
Super cool. Played some FIFA, and I actually was winning, except when I went to the bathroom, they unpaused the game and made me concede an own goal, which I think is a cunty act, if ever there was one. That is bad. They were salty because I was whooping their booties as Catwoman in Injustice, and they said, let's play FIFA, which I have no chance at, and then I was winning. So basically, everyone, I'm great, and everyone's out to get me, is the lesson.
Why wouldn't you pick one of the boy characters in Infamous?
Because Catwoman is so awesome. She's super fast, and she has great combos. Fighting games aren't about gender, Paul. I'm not 6. I'm not 6. I'm not like you. I'm not going to go, well, I'm not playing as a girl or Superman. He's gay. His underwear is outside.
Well, I understand, because whenever I play Super Mario Kart, I'm always Peach, because Peach has the best acceleration in the game.
Yeah. So running connect women driver.
Well, they know how to accelerate, Joe. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's everything else.
Slowing down, isn't it?
Sipping on a banana. Wow.
Oh my god. But yeah, PS4. Yeah, it's super. That controller's great. Also, you can just casually, like, it's not a big deal. Twitch stream, like, it's no big deal and all that stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah, I think my internet's good enough to support it now. So
I got an email telling me I should upgrade to the 70 for free. They told me this when I signed up, that I could upgrade to 70 megabyte fiber optic. I just haven't gotten around to ringing them, but yeah, that's cool. So hopefully, well, I don't know what I'm gonna really benefit from that. I guess I could download stuff on the PS3 and not have it throttle everything else I'm supposed to do.
Exactly.
That'll be nice. But yeah, PS4. Look forward to that.
And yeah, so I've seen a lot of movies this week. I don't know if we want to get into movie talk just yet.
Well, it's funny you mentioned winning 7 quid, because I was just like, I made a little acquisition in the HMV sale today on DVD for 7 quid. Maybe that'll segue into movie talk, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I've been to the cinema twice this week, and I saw 2 movies at home on Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
So first of all,
Elf?
I didn't watch Elf. No, I've seen Elf. I've already seen Elf enough times to
love it eternally.
To not necessitate another watching this year. I do love Elf, of course. I watched first of all on the Will Ferrell kick on Saturday. When was it? Let me see Anchorman.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I saw Anchorman anyway. Whenever
Unless you're planning to review, like, you know, it was ruined because that was the day they announced Mandela died. I don't think it's relevant.
I think it might have been Sunday. I don't remember. Anyway, Anchorman 2 was watched, and it was fun. I mean, it was one of those movies where it's not very well made. It's a very poorly made movie. Like the first one is to an extent, because it's all ad-libbed and they sort of just fuck around for a few months and then try and edit it together into a movie. A lot of hits and misses. Steve Carell's character Brick just is really grating in this one, because he's so over the top and wacky, in like as a dumb character, almost to the point of like Adam Sandler, where he's just like running around like a child, and it gets a bit too much. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even. I'm not sure I'd even recommend it. as much as funny as some bits were, and some bits were very, very funny. I think the first movie's enough. I don't think this needed a second movie, and I don't think it's good enough for people to even watch it. I mean, it's take or leave it. I think I gave it a 6 or a 7. It's very hit and miss. More hits than misses, but the misses are excruciating. The misses are like have you scratching your head as to how they made the final edit. There's some like storylines that could have been cut out completely because they're so dreadful and pointless. Not one I'll buy on Blu-ray. Not one I'll watch again. But funny enough for it's very long as well. So I think I'll probably lean towards a 6. Give it a 6 out of 10. So I don't think you guys are particularly fond of Anchorman anyway, the first one.
I was, and then I rewatched it recently, and I was like, this is funnier when I was 13, And on that, as you say, I thought there was a lot of misses when I rewatched the first one.
Yeah, well, I think the first one's a lot stronger as than the second one. It even works more cohesively as a story, whereas this one is just sort of takes complete right angle turns, and you're like, why is this happening? Why is this the plot now? I'll actually spoil it for you. There's towards the end of the movie, out of nowhere, Ron Burgundy just becomes blind, and that becomes the storyline for the last quarter of the movie. And it's not like it's a twist in the story. Like there's nothing leading to it. It just happens randomly, and then it's like some sketches about that, and it's like, why is this happening? It's not particularly funny either. So yeah, that's if you really 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 like the first Anchorman, check out the second one. It's funny enough, but if you can sort of leave or take the first one, I give the second one a miss.
Yeah.
Speaking of giving movies a misses, on Christmas Eve I then watched Adventureland with Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart.
Mark Zuckerberg, yeah.
Probably the least interesting movie.
No. Okay.
Probably the least interesting movie I've ever seen. Definitely not the worst movie, but incredibly dull, lifeless. Hard to watch, I would say, in how uninteresting it was. Now, I was told beforehand that it wasn't a straight up comedy; it was more of a drama. So I didn't go in expecting like a laugh out loud comedy, and then had this quite dry coming of age drama. But even knowing what it was, I sort of found it quite hard to get through. I think I would enjoy it more if I watched it when I was sort of that age, like 17 to 19, sort of around there. But all the characters are just so annoying and unlikable, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. And I realize it's almost a harsh criticism because I think it's quite an accurate portrayal of
teenage angst.
Of teenagers of that age, and the fact that they don't do the likable thing. They do make mistakes, and it was quite an accurate portrayal, and it was well enough acted. But I just didn't like it. I just didn't get into it, and I just really found it a chore to watch. I thought Bill Hader was very funny in it.
No, I can't stand it.
I think he was probably the only person I actually enjoyed in the movie.
No, it's not.
I thought Ryan Reynolds was completely wooden and bland
As usual.
Kristen Stewart did nothing for me. I saw a lot of people saying that they really like her physically in this movie. I thought she was a bit monk-faced.
You say that about everyone.
And also,
No, but she actually was.
What kind of planet are you from? A lot of people liked her physically,
Well, that's actually something that a lot of people say insofar as something they enjoyed about the movie was, well, she would look good.
Oh, boy, the physicality on her. Oh.
It was Jim Rossi who did it. Yeah, I didn't quite like her in it so much, and I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. I give that a 3 out of 10.
Wow, that's bad.
And it was very bad.
That's a bit over the top. Do we have to bring up Three Stooges?
I enjoy
Oh, but
I
you
enjoy
often
Three
do,
Stooges
so-
a lot more than I enjoy Adventureland.
Yeah, but okay. So 3 enjoyment points.
3 enjoyment points.
I like when Joe says, "Do we have to bring it up?" It's you who brings it up, mate.
Three Stooges. If you take 5 as indifference, 5 is directly in the middle. Okay, and then if you like a movie, 6 to 10, 6 being the sort of the lowest level of enjoyment that you can, like a positive you can give, and 1 to 4 being, or 0 to 4 being the negatives. Adventureland was sort of in the middle of the unenjoyments, and
Okay.
Three Stooges is just positive. Then straight away afterwards, I watched Spring Breakers, which for 3 days was my favorite movie of the year. I really like Spring Breakers, and I've seen people who really, really don't like it,
Yeah.
and they called it tedious. I don't understand it at all.
After putting it off for ages, I watched it following Paul's review when he said it was like the best film he'd seen all year, up until he saw something else. But I was firmly in his camp on that debate. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was bizarre and like hard to almost explain as to what it even is. But I feel like it's several things. You know, it is not the A to B movie you might think it is from looking at the trailer. You know.
It's very.
No, it's not.
It's very indulgent.
The
Very
plot's
self-indulgent.
completely linear plot, boring dialogue.
linear. It's like the
No
least linear
characters.
film. Like,
They rob things so they can go to spring break, then they go to spring break.
yeah, that's like the first hour. It's not hour.
What you're describing there is a plot, Joe.
No, what I'm describing is
if they then
the
didn't go
story
to
with
spring
no
break-
twists or turns.
It does have twists or turns though.
No, it doesn't.
One of them fucks off.
Well, 2 of them do
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, predictable.
Not no. I was waiting for Selena Gomez. To
And
come
also
back.
the two exactly, she doesn't. No twist.
Why are you saying
The,
wait. I'm confused as to why you criticism.
Also, the 2 remaining don't have any character.
That is
whatsoever.
true. That is true. I thought that was.
I couldn't even remember which ones they were.
And I also I don't even know their names. But and the other thing as well is I
Bobby
thought
Sue.
I thought the ending was far too Rambo for the rest of the film. The rest of the film hardly prides itself on realism, but the ending feels ridiculous.
I don't know. I thought the film was so self-indulgent that it sort of worked. Because the whole film is very bombastic and
Well, it wants
crazy.
to be, anyway. It thinks it is.
well, it is.
It's not.
I quite like the editing of it as well. It's not completely, even though Joe claimed it was linear.
Yeah, that is
It is.
totally not. It's like everything is a montage almost. Everything is
It's like a music video. in a
yeah.
way.
It's like a 90-minute music video. It's just totally bizarre at times. I mean, I don't know. I thought that it was. I thought they did some really interesting things in terms of it's simultaneously this loud, self-indulgent, titillating, get it, film, and then at the same time it's like kind of turning a lot of those things on its head. I really loved the scene where they initially rob the place so they can get the money to go to spring break, which happens like in the first 20 minutes and is really more of a jump off point for the actual plot rather than the plot is not about how they become criminals to get money to go to spring break. That's not the crux of the film. I thought it was cool how that was shot in such a way initially that it was this cool badass kind of summer popcorn movie thing, and then later on in the film they show it from inside the place they were robbing, and it was portrayed much more violent and much more kind of twisted and a bit more kind of disturbing, and it kind of turned it on its head a little bit, and I thought that was good. And I think the film is full of little things like that are kind of. It looks you could watch it and you could think it is really shallow, or you could watch it and you could think, well, there's more to it than that. And I think I picked it up today on DVD because I want to rewatch it and soak it all in again.
It's visually very nice to look at as well. Not only because there's boobies on the screen, but
Lovely hall soothers.
it's very sort of neon. bright colors. So it's sort of like Drive in a way,
Lots of pink.
visually. Yeah, and yeah, I just liked everything about it. I was completely engaged the whole movie. In a way, it has similar themes to Adventureland in that it's the story of sort of unlikable teenagers trying to, break away from where they are in their lives. But whereas Adventureland tackles it in a very realistic way, Spring Breakers very much pushes it to the extreme. And for me, it was a lot more fun, therefore.
Spring Breakers is more like wrestling.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
It's like,
And Adventureland's the old MMA
yeah.
with Johnny Bland against Jimmy Skinhead
Amen.
in a
Amen.
15-minute draw. This split decision.
It's also kind of like football. It's also kind of like football in that regard, also.
I didn't dislike Spring Breakers. I did give it a 7 out of 10, which isn't a bad score,
Yeah.
to be honest.
No, but I don't disagree with your assessment of it. I as you said to me in the week, apparently I say something about it's all subjective or something. I don't remember what your point was there, but
You was slagging off someone else's opinion, and then, despite the fact that you constantly say it's all subjective.
well, I was slagging off the opinion of people who had liked Adventureland and disliked Spring Breakers, claiming that Spring Breakers was tedious. Which is completely backwards.
I can understand someone view it. I mean, like I said, I thought you could view it and think it's shallow, and then you could also view it and not think it's shallow. I could totally understand if someone did watch it and did think, okay, there's nothing to this at all. But I'd never say it's tedious. It's like the most over the top, in your face.
Yeah, but like I was saying with the characters, because you have no sympathy for them, or I didn't anyway, and a lot of them don't have any developed character. So, despite the fact that it's got all this drug taking and nudity on screen, you're not necessarily invested in it. And if you're not invested in it, you could sit there and just think, why am I watching this?
Well, there are lately. I think it's sort of a new.
But it's not really a character story either. I mean, that's the other thing.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Lately, we've had these movies like Tree of Life by Terrence Malick, Drive, which I referenced just now, Spring Breakers, which aren't very strong as a narrative, but it's the way that they're made, the way that they're shot, the music is used, which is actually the more impressive thing. Like, if you were to watch Spring Breakers solely for the story, like you would watch whatever Die Hard or
What
The Usual
weird
Suspects.
Jingle All the Way. Which I also watched this week.
Well,
I
love
did not
Jingle
watch
All
the
the Way.
that's
entire
great.
festive season. I'm very disappointed in myself.
Turbo Man.
Sinbad is great in that movie. Although I think for Schwarzenegger it's his absolute all-time low in terms of acting. He is,
I don't know about that.
even compared to like Commando or something. He is terrible. The doll! I got to get the doll!
But yeah, like I said, I think Spring Breakers' strength is not the narrative, but the whole experience of watching.
No.
No, it's not it's not a super strong narrative. Like you say, the characters aren't developed. I mean, what is there to develop? They're just teenage girls on a rampage. But yeah, the strength of the movie is more the way that the story is told, more than the story itself. And then 3 days later saw an even better movie. So that's mad. All my favorite movies coming in right at the end of the year. I saw
the end of the year like Spring Breakers released in March.
Well, I did see Nebraska in the cinema, which is the new Alexander Payne movie. He did The Descendants last year with George Clooney.
Pills to numb the pain.
And
Wrong pain, sorry.
he did About Schmidt with
I like that film.
Jack Nixon. I really didn't like About Schmidt, but I really like Nebraska. It's got Will Forte in it, Bruce Dern. It's a very, 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 very touching movie. I mean, I know you two guys have watched the new critically acclaimed Ricky Gervais television series Derek.
Yes.
This movie is actually like does for the elderly what Hugo did for like cinema, for early cinema. It's sort of like how Hugo was a love letter to sort of that cinema of the time. This is very much a movie that portrays the elderly in a very positive light, and it is very sentimental. But it's done like there's no Coldplay montages.
What? Hang on. You say this is good?
Yeah, superb movie.
Does
no Coldplay.
anyone shit themselves?
There's no shitting of themselves.
Of the pants.
Is there? I don't believe there is.
Yeah.
The story basically is it's about a man and his father, and the father gets one of those spam letters, which is like, "You've won $1 million. Go here with your letter to," and all the magazine subscriptions you want to sign up for to be entered into the draw to win $1 million. So he gets this letter and believes that he's won $1 million. So he has to go to Lincoln, Nebraska. That's the name of the movie, obviously, to claim his prize. It's sort of
the coordinator of the scam.
No. And it's sort of a road trip movie about a man and his father who are to an extent estranged, and it's very, very funny, very sad, very sweet. It's all shot in black and white monochrome. Even though it's a new movie, don't watch it and go, wait a minute, am I in a Hitchcock movie? Or
sounds awful.
See, that'd be too much of a come down for me after watching Spring Breakers, where it's the complete opposite.
Well, I think Joe would prefer this one because it is very narratively
I
strong.
thought you were going to say because it reminds him of the films of his youth. That's honestly what I thought.
And it's really, really excellent. I think there's an Oscar or 2 or 3 in here.
Is there a scene where they're on the road trip and the car breaks down and lights will guide you?
No,
Juice Bucket.
Definitely the best film I've seen in 2013. One I'll probably watch again because it was that strong an experience.
That damn good.
It was that damn good, and I would recommend everybody watch Nebraska. It's just superb movie. And they're all the movies I watched this week.
I watched Punch Drunk Love. Seen that?
That's with Adam Sandler and isn't it Drew Barrymore?
No, it's Adam Sandler and
that's 50 First Dates. Something.
Emily Watson.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, people have raved about it for quite a while, so I finally watched it. It's alright.
I thought it was excessively dry for my tastes.
Yeah, and people got rave about Adam Sandler saying it's his best performance, but
Compared to what?
I know. I think, to be honest, anyone else could have played the part. It would have been the same.
Doesn't he use one quote in that? That's what is he saying? It's sort of along the lines of, "I will do everything in my power to destroy you." He's got some weird, dumb line like that.
Yeah, probably.
Hang on, quote. Let me have a look at this. I know it's something. God. Talk about Jingle All the Way while I look for this.
Jingle All the Way is a Christmas film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jake Lloyd.
I have it.
Okay.
Sorry. He says, "I'm a nice man, I mind my own business. So you tell me that's that before I beat the hell from you." Oh, tough man. So Jake Lloyd, who would go on to be Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars.
Yeah. And he has to get a doll, or an action figure, as most people call it.
Turbo Man.
Yeah. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger runs around getting this toy. And it probably works as a satire of, Christmas, people buying stuff in a crazy, manic fashion.
Yeah.
And it's some of it's funny.
I think all of it's funny, Joe. I think it's fun.
Okay. You're right. It was funny.
He says, "Put the cookie down."
Put the cookie down.
No!
What about when he punches the reindeer?
Oh, the cookies.
He punches the reindeer.
He does punch a reindeer, and then he gives her some beer, I think.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. And in the end, spoilers, the kid doesn't even want the Turbo Man doll.
Well, he does.
Because I got Turbo Man, the real Turbo Man
Oh,
right
that
here.
was-
This is Dad.
That was really
Oh.
sweet when he gives it to the Sinbad to give to his son.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really.
And it was all yellow. How did people do Sentimentality before Coldplay?
Oh god. Well, Radiohead as well. Gotta have the old Radiohead in there. I love Jingle All the Way. I actually saw Jingle All the Way. I think that's the only movie I've seen a pre-release screening of.
Really couldn't wait.
Yeah, I don't know how. My dad. I don't know why he won tickets to it or something.
Oh,
And yeah, I still to this day love Jingle All the Way. Where the little girl has the 2 balls and Arnold Schwarzenegger's screaming, going, "She's got 2!" And his ball, the little girl puts it in her mouth, and he's trying to trade her for a bigger ball. Yeah, I love that movie.
I didn't like the policeman. I don't think he was very good.
Who played the policeman?
Well, no, some nobody. They should have got someone well known to play it.
Isn't
Like Sylvester Stallone.
isn't Mr. Kraft from Sabrina like a radio DJ in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw
Good
season
times.
1 of Sabrina in CEX this week. I should have bought it. That would have made quality live tweeting.
Sabrina. God. How many seasons did that get? Yeah, like 5 seasons?
No, way more. I think
probably
like
more.
10. Yeah,
Really?
it went on for like years and years and years, and characters left, and friggin' like almost the entire original cast was gone by the end, except for Sabrina.
7 seasons.
I think it
yeah.
concluded with her and Harvey getting married or something. In like 2004 or something.
Yeah, let me look at season 7. Doesn't say. How weird.
They should-
It only has episode summaries as far up as season 6, and then season 7 just has no information about it all.
They should bring it back with her as the aunt, with a new witch. I'd watch that.
Yeah, who would be the
Yeah.
who would be the central character though, the main witch?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who the young actress's name.
Cameron.
Naomi. The witch attacked.
Vanessa Hudgens.
Oh, I don't have it here. Okay, here we go. Here's the spoiler for the end of Sabrina Teenage Witch. When Sabrina is ready to head down to church to get married, her father arrives. Aaron and Sabrina choose. Who's
The
Aaron?
love interest, I believe.
Choose to cancel the wedding. She runs down the aisle trying to leave, and she gets outside and she sees Harvey on a motorcycle. They kiss and ride away with each other, and their soul stones fall and fit perfectly together.
Why is he on a motorbike?
When they-
I get that he's Harvey Kinkle. Why is he on a motorbike?
Well, he was at a traffic light or something, probably. When they ride off, it was 12:36, the time they first met 7 years before.
Oh.
And then, look at the stars, look at the shine for you.
I just realised Spring Breakers had Jeff Jarrett in it.
Yeah,
Jingle All the Way had the Big Show in it.
yeah.
Were there any wrestlers in Adventureland? No.
I don't believe there was.
That's why it was shit. Gotta have
Exactly.
a wrestler cameo.
Jeff Jarrett was pretty good in that.
And Nebraska. Nebraska had Will Forte in it, who was MacGruber, and that movie had Chris
MacGruber.
Jericho and Mark Henry
Yeah, who's
and
on
more,
Raw?
more wrestlers in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
all makes sense.
Yeah. So that's all the movies I watched this week.
Hmm.
I've been watching The Simpsons. I'm on season 4 now,
Hmm.
and I'm almost caught up on Boardwalk Empire.
I watched The Trip this week.
Oh, where'd you get that?
Oh God, I don't know. Someone sent it to me. So,
Okay.
Some kind fellow.
Was it the film version?
No, I didn't want to watch that rubbish. That's what they had on Netflix. So, someone sent me each of the individual episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
To enjoy that show.
Boy, Dave.
It was Mark.
Michael Caine.
Yeah. She was only 16 years old.
You only meant to blow the bloody doors off.
And then his voice was very, very low. It was emotional.
I don't think Barry understands words.
No.
My name is Michael Caine. The Trip is a Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon miniseries, which was edited down into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a conversation where they both almost have a competition to see who can do the best Michael Caine voice. It's very, very funny.
It's
very funny.
They're doing another series as well.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Things out next year. That was this week on TV and movies.
Indeed.
Good stuff.
I watched. I have the 2009 Girl with the Dragon Tattoo film taped.
Which one is that?
Foreign one.
That's not the Fincher one, yeah.
Okay. I'll give that a watch at some stage.
That's probably. I don't know which one I've not seen either of them, but I'd nearly prefer to watch the original one.
Yeah.
Even though the second one is David Fincher, and he's a very good director. Isn't it Noomi Rapace?
Yeah.
In the original one?
Yeah, I saw the original ones. They were alright, but not.
Yeah. Did you watch the Fincher one and then?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Alright.
Yeah, it's good and good.
Well, that's got Rooney Mara in it. Shucky ducky. Quack quack. Well, do we get up to anything else this week? Do we have good Christmases?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So,
I got a big Zelda book.
I saw that. What is
Yeah,
it like?
we saw
Is it a
that.
strategy book or is it a history of the thing?
No, it's a history of
interesting.
the entire series. It has the chronology of all the games, how they all fit together.
That must be the book alone.
It's pretty big. It's nearly 300 pages. It's got artwork of sort of like designs that they're using before, like during the production of the game. So you've got like these unused designs of characters and stuff. It's very, very interesting.
who's Zelda?
Hey,
Who's Zelda?
Zelda's the princess.
Oh, okay, so it's like if Mario was called The Legend of Peach.
Yeah, exactly.
What is so legendary about her? What is it? Just she's a princess? I've never
guess.
played Zelda game.
Oh, that's a shame. Because I think that A Link Between Worlds is my favorite game of the year.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about it. Looks really good.
Despite the fact that I've not played Last of Us.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know.
Play that game.
I will, eventually.
Play it before you get your damn PS4 because.
Oh, I will endeavour to.
But yeah, good haul, good times. I've just had a tiring and debauch week of alcoholism, and I just need to stop. I've one more to go, 2 years, and then I'm retiring forever.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I had some nice turkey. It was lovely.
Shit to your meat.
What?
Dry.
Turkey is the
dry,
king. Is the
white,
king of meat.
tasteless shit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't like turkey.
What?
I prefer a bit of pork. A bit of beef
Bit
or
of
pork.
beef, bit of ham, bit of chicken, whatever you want, mate.
Oh, some lovely bacon.
Oh yeah.
Turkey is like chicken on steroids.
You know it. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's all shriveled and lifeless and shit.
No testicles.
I love. I love turkey, mate. I love a bit of turkey. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Turkey is so Adventureland.
No, it's
Whereas
not.
beef is Adventure Time.
I kept mistakenly calling Adventureland Adventure Time
Is it not the
while
same
I was
thing?
giving out about it all week. I'm watching Adventure Time. A load of rubbish.
Oh god, I'm dying. Anyway. What else happened this week? I watched that 2013 wipe this morning. It was
Yeah.
good. The usual
Not bad.
solid offering. from Brooker. Very much enjoyed. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I've seen anything else of note this week.
Fair enough. Did you do anything of note? How'd you? I heard you get nearly got in a fight. Yesterday.
Well, yeah. So there's no major story to this. My usual haunt that we went to last night. It's kind of a rock club. I mean, not in the weird, over the top rock club way, but it's the music they play is more rock orientated than it would be, and it's not a neon soaked club, you know. And moshing is a regular occurrence there, and it often gets out of hand. There's very very rarely fights. But last night, I felt it got out of hand with one guy, and I had to be restrained because I was fucking kill him. I was completely wasted, and he obviously just pushed me or looked at me the wrong way. And I was like a thug. I was just like, I do vividly remember the fact that I was being restrained and I was trying to fight off my friends. Please let me go get my ass kicked by this guy who was like 7 feet tall.
Oh my god.
And we went for hungover KFC today, and they were just like, I've never seen you lose your mind so fast. And I was like, whoops. Oh god.
That would have been fun if we had come on today to record this. Oh, Barry's in the hospital.
Oh god. Oh, alcohol. I've had a weird couple of weeks. I'm gonna need to detox in the new year. I'll go for the month of January. Cold beef. Anyway, yeah.
So you had plenty of beef last night. Oh. No,
probably why I was in a bad mood and I was willing to fight. Anyway, we're not going to do any news, and there's no news to talk about. What?
No, there's really.
What do you want to do
isn't.
first? What has me first?
Let's do emails, and then we can have our rewards as the main event of the evening. Right, I'm going to try and open mine up on my phone here because I'm too far away from my PC. Here we go. Okay, let's have a look. First one comes from Scott. Old Scotty boy. Oh, sorry, I fired it. I don't know if that was picked up on the old mic.
It wasn't.
Someone fired on the UFC last night. You could hear it.
Rogan?
In the middle of the broadcast. It was all... I don't know, maybe it was Rogan. So Scott says, hello, Paul. With the news that Ryback would be interested in getting into movies, I learned this news.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. As why his head would be used as a rock or something. I was wondering if you think there are any current WWE wrestlers who could even make a semi-successful transition. Personally, I don't see Ryback as being a decent actor. He's barely a decent wrestler. Although, now I think about it, he could make a decent Skeletor in a He-Man remake. Thanks for another great year of shows. ChairShot Podcast, #1 fan, Scott. I didn't know that Ryback's trying to get into...
Well, he just said in the interview
he's not a good actor.
He thinks he'd be a good villain.
They all do, don't they?
He said he'd be a good comic book villain, which I don't think he would be.
No, I think he'd be a good comic relief. I think he could play, you know, the Turtles. Krang had those two thingies.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, he could play one of them.
Yeah, boy. That's sort of... Well, that's another movie that had a wrestler in it. Kevin Nash.
Yeah, another great movie.
Secret of the Ooze.
The Usos.
What could Ryback do?
Nothing.
What could he be in? I guess he'd have to be in one of those mindless... It'd have to be in one of those mindless action movies where... I couldn't think of a good role for Ryback. He's in that problematic thing where he's too big to be cast as a normal person. But he's too
cast as anything.
He doesn't have enough charisma to be cast as a big jacked up action movie star, you know? The Rock's got that market covered for a month anyway. As far as who else could get into movies from the wrestling world,
Jeff Jarrett.
well, he's already there,
He's good
brother.
in Breakers.
He is, but
Yeah.
he's not got a lot to do.
Exist,
He is good
exist
at
and be
it.
Southern.
Pretty much. I'm trying to think who's got a good look for the movie and a good voice.
Fandango.
Yeah, Fandango's a good call, I would say.
Cody Rhodes.
Questionable
Yeah.
acting, I would say.
Eric Rowan.
Page.
The thing is, you don't really need to be able to act. I mean, The Rock can't act in these sort of movies.
Yeah. I wonder if he's ever going to do anything like remotely serious.
He did that one about Snitch, where he was a snitch or
What?
something.
No, that was just a stupid action movie. He did
Oh, was it?
Gridiron Gang, which I think
Yeah.
was a serious film, but I don't know if he did very well. I don't know if he was any good in it.
Oh, Southland Tales, wasn't that? A bit more serious.
That was a bomb. That was not the bomb.com.
No, they did have Sean William Scott in it though.
Justin Timberlake.
Is he in it?
Well, Sean William Scott wasn't in.
No,
Silent
he's
Hills.
in the rundown.
Was he?
He's in both.
Oh, okay. It was just Justin Timberlake was definitely in Silent Hills. No, was he?
No, he's,
No, he
not,
wasn't.
he's not on the cast list.
I'm thinking of a different movie.
You're thinking
I'm
of
thinking of
Alpha Dog.
Alpha Dog.
I
that's
just wonder if The Rock will ever have a Pursuit of Happiness film. You know.
Yeah, we'll pursue it and he'll kick his ass. That's what we'll do.
Yeah. Boots
And then do a
to
quip.
ass.
I'm The Rock.
I think The Rock's capable of it. I think The Rock would be good. Yeah, The Rock's decent. Come on.
He can just about out-act Arnold, I think. The same way he could out-wrestle Ryback.
I think Fandango's a good call. I can't think of too many other people.
Yeah.
Apart from the women, because they're all beautiful women,
Are
you
they?
know? Mostly.
Okay.
They could make Commando 2 with Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Or how about a remake of Predators where they can get it's Caitlyn and Ryback and they do the pushing too many pencils, huh? And they do the muscly handshake. And it's just their biceps just rippling on the screen. There you go. There's their cast. Next one comes from William. Subject, Ronda Rousey. He says, I wanted to get your thoughts on Rousey. Is she playing the heel, like she said? And are the fans right to have turned on her? Happy New Year's, Will. Thank you, Will. Well, I didn't watch the last season of Ultimate Fighter because I never need to see another season of Ultimate Fighter in my whole life because they're all the same. I don't know that Rousey is so much playing the heel. I just think she's a bit bratty.
Yeah.
I think it's effective. I think it's better that she is than being a nondescript, faceless, charismaless drone like so many MMA fighters are. I think Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer last night, he put it perfectly where he said that she won her fight last night, by the way. For those unaware, she armbarred Miesha Tate and won her fight. And Miesha Tate put out the hand to shake the hand afterwards, and Ronda Rousey just looked at it and walked away from it. And Dave Meltzer said, people remember different. So the fact that she did that, people will remember that because it's different from what usually happens where the guys shake their hands and go, I was building up the fight, we don't really hate each other, blah, blah, blah. So, I would argue that whether she's playing the heel or whether she is just a bit bratty, like I assume she is, I think it's beneficial to her because it makes her stand out from the pack.
She could
And
be
it
like
also
the
helps that
Stone Cold of MMA. She should just flip her off, give her a stunner.
give her another armbar. Well, she's not even an anti-hero, though. She is essentially a heel.
But then who's the babyface?
Oh, Miesha Tate was the big babyface last
She
night.
lost.
She submitted.
She's
And you
shite.
never have your baby face.
That's the problem.
submit.
Is they've got no one as good as her, so she's never going to get her comeuppance.
That's the thing. The next fight she's having, she's a Olympic bronze medalist in judo.
So,
She's fighting an Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. So that'll be an interesting one. Are the fans right to have turned on her? I don't know that they've turned on her. I mean, when you go to a show, you boo and you cheer, but ultimately, if her next pay-per-view event does well, people are interested enough in her to pay to watch her, and that's all that matters to the UFC. You know, it's what the WWE say about John Cena: if you boo or you cheer,
same
you
with
get no reaction.
Mayweather. People can't stand him. He sells for millions of buys.
But then what happens is, rather than people not being interested in you, the draw becomes wanting to see him lose. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I guess that's not Will's question necessarily. He's saying, are the fans right to have turned on? I guess, yeah, you know, she's acting a bit like a bit of a bitch, so fair enough. But then, like I said, it's not necessarily important for all the champions to be all baby faces, because again, there's no one who stands out. You have to have a mix. And the last one comes from Steve. If I could open it up with my stubby fingers. Okay, we got it. Subject: end of year. Greetings from the Bay Area. He says, I hope it makes it in time. It's currently Sunday morning here at about 11 a.m. It did make it in time, because we were late. He gives us his awards from the year. I'll go through them now. Best match of the year, Punk Brock from SummerSlam. Second place, Cena Bryan from SummerSlam. Worst match of the year, that Chikara in the park. Something with the Divas can be the runner-up, he says. Best thing that happened, my wife being forced to watch every Raw this year.
What's the best? Why is that the
Best other thing?
Like domestic abuse.
Best other thing that happened, the time I turned Impact on and my wife thought it was NXT. She got excited because she loves Tyler Breeze, but when she found out it was Impact, she got up and left the room. Hopes for 2014, more great wrestling for WWE. Sheamus's body destroyed itself and he never comes back. Triple H's head explodes like that guy in Scanners. He says, I hope you, Barry and Joe, had a great Christmas and hope you guys keep putting out this great show throughout 2014. My winter term starts on the 6th and I'm going to have to listen to something. Happy New Year, guys. Thank you, Steve, for your list. What was that Shikara?
One of their little viral thingies to do to make it look like they're kind of rise from the ashes. They streamed on like Ustream like this shitty little like backyard wrestling almost thing from like a parking lot somewhere. It's terrible, and it was raining, and there was like 4 people there, and it was, you know, it just looked like shit.
I see. Well, they're all my emails. Thank you, Scott, Will, and Steve for sending them in to me.
Cheers, lads.
Who's next?
I've got one from Scott McAvoy. He says, good evening, Joe. With the year coming to an end, I'm sure the lads are going to discuss feud of the year. Well, I have a set of potential feuds for next year, and I'm interested to hear which you guys think would be the best, the worst, the most entertaining, and the what the fuck were they thinking. Thanks for a great year, and look forward to another one listening to you and the rest of the crew. Okay, it's got 6 feuds here. First is CM Punk versus Adrian Neville. What do you think of that? I think
that would be interesting.
I'm not sure if Neville would be a good heel.
Yeah.
See him more as a high-flying
babyface. His weaknesses are speaking. So I don't know about if putting him against Punk would maybe be throwing him out of his depth. The matches would probably be very good, but...
Or maybe you could put Paul Heyman with him.
That would be a good idea.
He could be the new Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah. Although again, I don't know if you need to go back to that well with Heyman and Punk, but still, I mean, that's on paper, that sounds great.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Yeah. I'm sure we'll probably will see that at some point. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Could be some good matches. I think they may stick together for a while. If Reigns leaves. I did see someone suggest they could add another member to replace Reigns. So that's a possible idea. Next, Oliver Gray versus Ryback.
I don't know what that would accomplish.
Paul's 2 favourites there.
Yeah, Oliver Gray. I think I picked like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Was like a future
Well, still going.
Okay.
I can't imagine anyone against Ryback.
Yeah,
really
I don't
good.
know. I feel like that's
So-
getting someone off on the wrong foot.
Yeah. Finally, Sami Zayn versus Xavier Woods. Is the second guy JTG? That
Yeah.
one.
I'm not feeling Xavier Woods at all. I feel like
No.
that would be a waste.
No, I don't like him. Sami Zayn, I don't know what they could do with him, really.
I think if anyone was going to get a good match out of Ryback on a consistent basis, it would be Sami Zayn.
Well, good luck to them. Put that on SmackDown, please. So we can watch it. Okay, that's my email. Thank you very much, Scott. Look forward to seeing those matchups in the new year.
Alright, let me take a look at my email here. I got one from Scott. He says, with the proliferation of with the proliferation of people who used to be in the wrestling business getting into the podcast business, I'm starting to get a bit overwhelmed. Often is good at times, but seems to get anyone he wants on the show. But he's a terrible interviewer, and then he talks over his guests to get his questions out instead of letting the guests talk. Colt is the best interviewer, and I'm hoping that Austin will go on his show. That more people will be willing to talk to him, but I get the idea that WWE doesn't want their guys showing up on his show. Punk does it because he doesn't give a shit. I haven't listened to either Jericho or Cornette shows yet, but of the two, I think Cornette is the one that interests me most. He's not above burning bridges, as he has any left to blow up, and I think he'll be the only one to give out a completely honest opinion of what he sees going on in wrestling. Is there any former wrestler you would like to see on a podcast? Personally, I think guys who make the best interviews are either guys like Flair, who have done so well that they don't care what someone thinks, or a wrestler who feels so burned by a company that he knows he's never going to go back. And so they say whatever is on his mind, not caring who he throws under the bus. Sorry for the long-winded email, but if nothing else, it will add to my listening pleasure next week. Thank you for all the great year. Thank you all. Wow. Thanks.
Thank all. You thank.
God, I want to go to sleep.
Paul, thank.
Thanks to all of you for a great year of podcasting, and thanks for putting up with all the sometimes silly questions I ask Scott. Scott, please word that better because I can't read. please limit your sentences and no more words over 2 syllables. Anyway. I'm kind of, as we discussed on the show, I'm kind of getting a little bit burned out on wrestling podcasts. I'm not going to bother with Cornette. I have no time for Cornette. Jericho's. I don't know if I could bring myself to listen to Jericho's. I just can't be arsed, honestly. I like Steve Austin and I like Colt Cabana, and that does me fine.
Yeah, I've long given up on Steve Austin's one unless I see that someone interesting is on. I think the problem with all these podcasts popping up is now you have this rotating door of interviews where it's like Jim Ross is on Wrestling Observer, Jim Ross is on Steve Austin, and there's only so much ground they can cover, and so you get a lot of repetition. And once I see someone is on, say, imagine Steve Austin or someone's on who I've just heard interviewed on either Wrestling Observer or on whatever, I'm not going to listen to the same person again. You can only listen to so many bloody Jim Cornette interviews where he's like, "Oh, Obama's great and Matt Morgan's a star." So that sort of put me off. Yeah, and I mean, I liked Steve Austin's show a lot in the beginning, but I don't know, I just got tired of it. And the same with Cornette. I listened to one Cornette show, and that's enough for me. I don't need to listen to Jim Cornette every week talk about the old days or his antiquated view on how wrestling should be run nowadays. Yeah. Although that being said, there's no one as bad as Lance Storm. Oh my god! I saw they put up a podcast. Lance Storm talks Christmas this week. Imagine.
Yeah.
The things that man went with. Oh Christ. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's good on one hand that these guys are being kept active in the wrestling world, where Steve Austin can't wrestle anymore, but he's still, an active voice. So it's good, and I believe a lot of people do listen to it. So if people listen to it and enjoy it, that's cool. Just personally for me, I can only listen to so much. First of all, I can only listen to so much wrestling talk a week, and the stuff that I enjoy more is sort of the analysis and the the news more than an interview with X-Pac, for example. You know what I mean? There's only so much nostalgia I can listen to in a week because I just get the feeling that it's not really integral to my listening that week. Whereas where I have stuff like sports podcasts or games or even other wrestling ones that are time specific, they'll definitely get my attention before interviews. And that's why they often just I don't listen to a lot of them unless, like I said, somebody really interesting. Like I don't know if Flair was on the Austin one, I'd probably give that a listen again.
Or if The Rock was on Austin.
Oh, definitely.
That'd be awesome.
Definitely. Hey?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I definitely listen to that. You know, but when it's who's that band he's had on like 4 times now? The Lost Lonely Boys or something. See, he's got this stupid band I've never heard of. He's had it on like 3 or 4 times on this podcast, and God, I just can't be bothered. And even Cole Caban, I can't listen to Cole Caban podcast anymore. I just find him too up his own arse, frankly. I really like the Conan ones, but that's more to do with how much you enjoy his shtick. If you don't enjoy Conan's shtick, you won't enjoy his shows. So I've been listening to Conan since I started listening to him back in 2007. I think he had a podcast on the critically acclaimed wrestling news website WrestleZone.com, and I really, that's where I first heard him and I enjoyed it. And then when he came back on MLW Radio, I checked him out and I enjoy it. Good email.
Cheers.
Yep.
Is that all the emails?
Yep.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for the 4th annual CSP Academy Awards.
Sitting in the Hall of Fame. Okay. I actually listened back to all the old ones this week.
Yeah.
So I could write down who we'd given awards to.
Do you have your spreadsheet open?
No, I've just written it in the forum thread.
Okay.
It wasn't easy because we haven't often actually given out the awards. We just kind of ramble on for 10 minutes about a host of contenders, and then Paul goes, "So anyway, what about worst feud of the year?" We'll just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I had to kind of use my judgment on some of them.
Well, this time we will definitely, at the end of each one, state
We'll shout out
categorically the winner. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have my little notepad file here. Let me open it. So where will we begin? One thing that I noticed last time, I don't know if we did it in the previous years, because I only listened to last year's show, was we started with best female, then worst female. And then midway through the show, we switched from best to worst, so that we would end on best wrestler of the year.
Yeah.
So I think we should start with worst this year, so that it's a bit more.
So do worst, best.
Yeah.
Okay. So what should we do first?
Let's start with our worst tag team or stable.
Worst tag team or stable of the year.
Yeah, because I feel like this year has been quite strong for tag teams. Stables.
Yeah, I was trying to think of WWE teams I didn't like, but I couldn't really think of any.
When I was going through my teams, a lot of them I just like. I could in previous years we had like Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan, and we had Matt Morgan and Hernandez, and Matt Morgan doesn't wrestle for a company now. So.
It's difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult.
Weird, isn't it? So I don't know. I mean, in WWE, have there been any really bad tag teams this year? Recently we've had. No, I'm just saying. Recently we've had Ryback and
Matadors.
Yeah,
but I don't know that they've. Have the Matadors been that bad, really?
Their
matches
I
are
haven't
fine.
even seen them wrestle, to be honest. So I couldn't say that.
I think that gimmick is just stupid.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
It's
They
dumb.
at least have
but
the little ball thing,
I think the bull's entertaining enough. I just don't think that their matches have been that bad. I think to be the worst tag team of the year, shouldn't it be something like Matt Morgan and Crimson, which I think won last year, where not only is every match they're in horrible, but they have no chemistry as a tag team, and
I was thinking
just stink up the TV every time they're on.
WWE, the worst would have to be Tenzai and Brodus Clay,
Yeah.
who are just useless.
Yeah, that would be. I'd be more likely to go along those lines than the Matadores.
Yeah.
Because I think the Matadores, although the gimmick is sort of kitsch and almost sort of 1980s, I think they're fine in the ring. I mean, when they're on, I mean, I don't mind watching one of their matches. I think they're generally fine. And the bull's fun enough, you know, little jumping man, Mexican jumping bean. There, jumping out, click there.
I saw a segment with them. I think it was at TLC, or it might have been on Raw. But the ball was like stood on something on a table, and I didn't realise. And I was watching it thinking, why is the ball really big all of a sudden? Why have they replaced the midget with a grown man?
Maybe he was just stood really close to the camera.
Yeah, it was on another midget's shoulders. I don't know.
This ball's small, and that ball is far away.
Yeah. So in TNA, there haven't been that many bad tag teams.
Hernandez and Chavo were pretty.
Are they still? Don't even.
They recently broke up. I mean, they combine badness and forcedness.
That is true. I mean, you got to remember this goes back till January 2013. So, I mean, I think I watched Impact up until, like, consistently up until about mid-year, I'd say. So yeah, I mean, I remember Hernandez and Chava. They didn't really have much chemistry. I mean, Chava was really good at anything.
Yeah. So, given that I couldn't think of any bad tag teams, I turned to stables instead.
Okay.
I briefly considered Aces and Eights, who I think won it last year. Then I realised they were entertaining at points, thanks to Bully Ray. So I didn't opt for them in the end. There was also the main event Mafia, but I don't really remember what they did.
No, I didn't watch any of that stuff.
I don't remember what that would even compose of.
So in the end, I went for a stable that at first I thought was pretty good, but ultimately turned out to be disastrous. That was The Authority.
And what would that be? Who's the Authority?
Triple H, Stephanie, Kane,
and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And Brad Maddox to an extent, I suppose. And the little elf who came out with them on Raw, whoever that was.
No, not him. Just the other one.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a fair call. I mean, yeah, their segments routinely
made no sense because
are annoying.
So they couldn't decide whether they're heels or faces.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that a lot. Triple H didn't they do that like just the week before last?
Yeah.
With Randy Orton. We're like, you will fight Daniel Bryan because that's what the crowd wants.
Yeah.
We like the crowd. I was like, what? I mean, I think what they should need to do is sort of what they did in 2000 with the McMahon-Helmsley regime or faction or faction, as Edge and Christian used to call them. Yeah, they're a little too tweeny, I think, at the moment. That being said, I think I would probably lean towards Brodus and Tensai over the Authority.
Okay.
Just because although the Authority routinely don't have very good segments, I think Triple H has been decent enough in his role, and Randy Orton's matches are decent enough as well. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
I would probably bandwagon with Brodus Clay and Tensai. I feel like Brodus Clay's entire main roster presence for the last 2 years has been largely terrible.
It's tough to say though, because it's been a good year for tag teams. You gotta say. I don't know that Brodus and Tensai have had the exposure though all year either.
True.
God, I don't know if I want to go with the Authority as the worst. I know. It's a toughie. Let me think. Okay, I'm gonna go back and fall back on my old enjoyment points.
Was the Miz in a tag team at any point?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe it was.
Miz and Kofi.
Was that a tag team? Nah.
Yeah.
That wasn't long enough. I don't think.
No. I'm gonna go with Tensai and Bros because although I've enjoyed bits of the Authority now and then, I don't think I've enjoyed anything Brodus and Tensai have done all year. I don't think I've enjoyed a single minute that they've been on television.
Except for when Brodus said that Naomi was shit and her boyfriend got heat. That was the best thing they did all year, I think.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brodus and Tensai, the funky funk men,
Okay.
the funky
I'm
monks.
happy with it.
But I will put an asterisk and say that the Authority have the potential to be even worse.
Yeah.
I would say Brodus and Tensai were the Adventureland of the year, and the Authority were the Anchorman 2 of the year.
Right.
Both bad in their own ways, but Anchorman 2 or the Authority had their moments, whereas I thoroughly didn't enjoy the funky dance men.
Okay.
So we're going to categorically state our CSP worst tag team or stable of the year goes to
Brodus Clay and Sweet Tea.
Brodus Clay and Sweet Tea. The Funk. What is their tag team called?
Do they have a name?
The Funk.
Funky bread roll.
Funky.
Tons of funk.
Oh, tons of
Tons of funk.
funk.
That's
Yeah.
it. I'm after writing tons of the funk. Hang on, let me get tons of funk. Okay, we got it. I mean, I think the fact that that's such a hard discussion to have and to pick a team, it really is it says a lot about how good tag team wrestling has been this year.
Yeah. And on that note, best tag team / stable of the year?
I mean, I think there's really only one pick, isn't there? I mean, there's
been a lot, but surely it's got to be the Shield.
Yeah, there's one head and shoulders above the rest for me.
Yeah, good. Who did they start out feuding with at the beginning of the year? Was it Hell No?
Well, they had those. Yeah, Hell No, Orton, Ryback, Cena.
Oh yeah, big 6-mans. Then they just had to angle the Undertaker after WrestleMania, and then the feud with Goldust and Cody Rhodes.
Exactly.
And then their recent involvement with the Authority.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they've been fantastic all year.
Yeah, I mean, is there any other teams who would even come close? I mean, I've really enjoyed Goldust and Cody Rhodes since they formed, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think in other years they could have won it, but this year, definitely the show.
Yeah, the Shield have been very bloody consistent, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean, the Shield have been... If there was like an overall best
thing
of the year, yeah. The fact that they're relegated to tag team or stable of the year is maybe a little bit unfair, because I don't think anyone has been better than the Shield as either a single
unit.
or... Yeah, exactly. And who thought they would be as good as they have been either? Because they all have their limitations. People say Seth Rollins can't talk. Ambrose is, he's sort of the all-rounder, the jack of all trades, master of none. And Roman Reigns was the green muscle head of the team.
Yep.
But they complement each other so well. And they've had routinely good matches.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've praised the Shield all year. I still think that's a little too soon to break them up, because you could still get squeeze a little bit of juice out of them.
Yeah, I think you'd have them go to WrestleMania first, and then break them up after that.
Yeah. I also think there's great potential in the future for a Shield reunion. Like, I think the fact that they've been so good is when they break them up, I think if you leave it a year or so and then have it be a big thing, maybe for pay-per-view, where
they'll pull off their shirts and they've got black flak jackets on underneath. I'm Shield!
Even if it's only a temporary arrangement, like
I thought they were all just really fat now.
Even if it's just like a new stable or whatever, and then whatever these three guys are doing, they end up in the ring at once, and whatever they obviously wouldn't pull off their shirts to reveal the big padded vests, but maybe they could, from under the ring, like DX did when they reunited in 99, is have the shirts and put them on rather than Triple H just pulled his skin off. He's got a DX shirt on underneath.
Yeah. Okay. So tag team of the year, or stable of the year, whatever you want to call them, definitively for me, the Shield.
Yeah, I think that's pretty unanimous.
Yeah, well done, lads.
Yep.
Well done.
So there you go. There's your best tag team stable. So best of the year, the Shield. Worst, Tons of Funk. I think the difference is that two of them, or at least one of the teams, are fat, not very good wrestlers, dumb gimmick, and then the other is sort of a quite cutting edge team full of good workers, good talkers. Different styles that complement each other, rather than just being two fat fellas.
Yeah.
The Shield. Good job. So let's go from there to let's say worst female wrestler of the year.
Okay.
And last year, who do we give this to? By the way, last year's tag team of the year was Bad Influence.
Yeah.
And worst tag team of last year was Crimson and Matt Morgan. Let's just see who we did in previous years, by the way. I'm going to look at the 2011 list.
Didn't do
we didn't do a tag team in 2011. What about 2010?
No, 2010.
No.
Okay. So they shouldn't do awards as tag team one.
Evolution of awards is a mystery.
Yeah. Random. I think I call it.
In our first year, we only did 5 awards.
Yeah,
5 different categories. I mean. Yeah, there you go. Best character award, if we don't do it anymore. What happened to that one? Why did we do that last year? Best character.
I don't know. I think it.
I guess that's what happens when you fly on the seat of your pants.
So worst female.
Worst female of the year. Last year we gave it to.
I think it's AJ.
AJ Lee. I think that was more to do with her horrible character all year.
Yes.
That's when she was the general manager and she was just all over TV.
For me, this year, I went for the star of Total Divas, Eva Marie.
And why is that?
Because I remember she had that one really awful match. And she keeps appearing on TV despite the fact that she's useless.
What happened to JoJo, by the way?
Nothing. Ever.
Where'd JoJo gone?
I don't know.
I think they've quietly killed off JoJo.
Maybe they realise that she offers nothing at all.
Yeah, I think that's a distinct possibility. I do remember that match she had where she wasn't she standing for a while to like who did they put her in with? Someone awful.
Axana?
Was it like Alicia Fox maybe or something like that? Possibly Axana. And then she got the hot tag and tagged out and then just stood up and stood in the apron. I'm fine, it's fake. Worst female wrestler of the year. There's so many to choose from. I'm always astounded that Axana is still employed.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
She doesn't seem to have improved. She doesn't do promos or any acting.
She can't really speak English at all.
Yeah. God knows.
Yeah, I really don't understand how Oksana still exists.
I think they just need women, don't they?
Yeah. Is there anyone worse? Let me think here. I'm gonna have a little look at the old roster here. See who's the worst lady on the roster. I mean, Eva Marie stands out, but then she's only been around since Told Divas launched, which was in September, was it?
That's enough.
It's kind of a cheap pick, I think.
No.
But I mean, to an extent, they're all cheap picks. I mean, if I was to say Oksana, I mean, it's valid, but
yeah,
what criteria are we looking for here? Is it the worst worker? Is it the most annoying prominent worker? Is it? I don't know. I think Eva Marie is a good pick. I gotta say.
I think Eva Marie's a solid pick. Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Let me think. Okay, well, I'm gonna take this award as meaning who is the worst female that was employed consistently during the year 2013. And I'm going to say the worst female wrestler of the year is Oksana. I don't think she did anything major in the year. But I don't think there's anyone worse. I think Eva Marie, she's been employed for a few months. I think she'll end up being better than Oksana.
Yeah, but you're not basing it on whether she
on potential. That's right, Joe. I still think she's more going for it than Oksana. She's got the looks at least.
Possibly.
Not that Oksana is not an attractive woman, but just in terms of marketability. Yeah, I just think I don't understand why Oksana is still employed. I don't understand why she was employed in the first place. I'll go for I'm going to stick with Oksana as my worst female wrestler of the year.
Very lad. Break the tie.
Oh. I mean, you mentioned that like Eva Marie, has she been around and done enough to be nominated? You can also say that of Oksana. You know, I'm going to go Eva Marie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eva Marie has the room.
So officially, the CSP worst bitch on the roster award is Eva Marie with her red hair.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. She doesn't listen to do what she's told.
I know.
Because they were like, dye her blonde. She's like,
she hasn't paid any dues. Yeah, there she is.
Maybe she's colorblind.
I like when Joe said that she hasn't paid any dues. I was wondering how did she get into business
I was like,
then? But they run Hollywood, brother. Okay, so Eva Marie Torres, I think her name is as well.
Yeah, it's Natalie Eva Marie Torres, I think is her name or something. It's crazy.
So there you go. She's the worst of the year.
Yeah.
Has there been any good ones this year, though?
Not really.
I wish I'd watched more of women's independence so I could have a more informed opinion on this.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and so I feel like I'd probably just go to AJ by default. Maybe Gail Kim. Gail Kim had some great matches with a number of people, including Tiffany, which everyone gives the credit to Tiffany for, which I don't think is fair at all. I think the improvement of Tiffany in the ring has been grossly overstated because she fell off a ladder.
That was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that. They would definitely be the best series of women's matches I've seen this year.
I thought AJ and Caitlyn in the summer pay-per-view was better.
They weren't bad.
I definitely think AJ has had more longevity than Gail Kim has.
AJ's had
Gail Kim's
some good
still-
promos as well.
She did have that CM Punk moment where she was like, all you told divas are stupid and I'm good, or whatever she said.
Yeah, that was great, but it went nowhere.
She also called Michelle Beadle a fucking bitch, so come on.
Bonus points.
I'll give her a bonus for that.
I think this is sort of the opposite to our problem with the Shield, where we had one team so head and shoulders above the rest. Whereas with this one, they're all sort of
languishing.
Not so bad.
well, not even languishing, but they're all sort of decent. So there's not one standout great one. I mean, at times I've been impressed by different people. I think Summer Rae is sort of flying a little under the radar with how good she's going to be.
Her matches on NXT are good, and her main roster stuff, like she's overflowing with charisma.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But then she's not had the chance to really show it off on TV yet. We should show off more. Gimmick. But yeah, because she's not done much, I don't think it would be fair to pick her as the best female wrestler of the year. I think she might be one to watch for 2014. Now we'll do those later, our picks for the future. Yeah, I think you'd have to go with AJ for 2014.
Yeah, I'd go with her.
Because she's worked well with Natalia and Caitlyn, which is two workers of very different abilities.
Yeah.
She sort of worked well with everybody, so I think more than being outstanding, she sort of benefited from consistency.
Yeah, she's competent.
Maybe I think we should change this award from best female wrestler to most competent female wrestler. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to go along with AJ Lee. It's funny because she got our worst one last year, but she's not been nowhere near as grating this year as she was last year. I think she's an asset now rather than a liability.
Absolutely,
I agree.
So there you go.
AJ Lee,
CSP's most competent female wrestler of the year is AJ Lee. A big jump up after last year's worst. So I'm gonna let one of you guys pick the next award.
How about worst and best newcomer of the year?
Okay. Now this always becomes a discussion as to what exactly is a newcomer, because whether it's like Ryback, who had been under contract for years.
I think we settled on like new character or new sort of context.
Yeah, I think I'd even go as far as say if someone had returned after a long absence, that would almost count, unless they were exactly the same characters before. No,
so
but
could
like,
Batista win best newcomer next year?
No, I don't mean it that way. I mean like Ryback had been Skip Sheffield on TV.
Yeah. And
it came back as Ryback. Oh, well, I guess that would count as a new character as well. So who would be the worst newcomer of the year? Who was new to our screens this year?
I don't think there were that many debuts this year.
I would say that Xavier Woods hasn't been lighting up my world since he showed up for sure.
I was thinking that, and I was like, it seems kind of harsh on him. But who else has there been? I mean, but there's a case for best and worst for Bo Dallas.
What would the best case be?
Because he's really good at NXT now.
Yeah, is he?
He does a heel. He basically does John Cena's gimmick, but like ironically.
I don't know that NXT is canon though.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. They reference it on WWE telly all the time. All the time.
How many times has the NXT champion been on Raw?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Who is the NXT champion?
Bo Dallas.
Okay. Well, he was on like twice then.
Well, shall I give you the pick that I eventually went with? I've sort of combined actually two people, but I think you can sort of bundle them together. It was in TNA, and it was Tito Ortiz and Rampage Jackson.
That is a good
newcomers of
pick,
the year.
Yeah.
Because not only were they shit at the wrestling, it also completely ruined their MMA feud as well.
Which they didn't even
end up happening. Yeah. Just a huge flop.
Yeah. I would even go as far as to say is to pick Tito over Rampage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although Rampage was really bad. Yeah, I think they'd almost have to go with
Whenever Rampage did anything physical, it was terrible.
Tito hit him with a hammer. And I didn't even have the fight in the end because Tito broke his neck. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know that there was anyone, even like going as far as, you know, the Matadors, Curtis Axel, I guess.
At least all the no, I suppose he was, yeah, Curtis Axel. Yeah, I just
Curtis Axel might be a good one actually for worst.
No, I think you gotta go with the MMA men. Although they were only around very, very briefly.
that was enough. Though.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
given
you know what?
they were so prominent as well because they were supposed to be these big stars. Like,
Yeah, I mean they were like closing out shows.
I know, like
It's Tito Ortiz.
oh my god, who is that? I don't know. What's going on?
It's MMA man Tito Ortiz. He's not won a fight in 7 years. I think that was why it was even. It worked even less than it like could have, is because they didn't bring in these two top of their game, world famous MMA guys. They brought in these two past it has-beens who between them both had won one fight out of their last 10. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Joe there. I think that's a perfect pick.
Okay.
For worst newcomer of the year. If I was forced to pick one,
Fair enough.
I think I'd probably go with Tito over Rampage.
Yeah.
But I think you gotta take them as a duo because they both came in and then they both disappeared at the same time when Viacom decided that this was a complete waste of time that was beneficial to nobody.
Yeah. I look forward to the return of King Lo, though. I'm sure that'll be triumphant.
Still under contract.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, even Curtis Axel had. I was going to say he had his moments, but he really didn't. He did beat Triple H twice.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, well, that credited him.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm going to go with the MMA men.
Yeah, Ortiz and Jackson.
What about Barry?
Ortiz and Jackson.
For longevity and lack of moments, I'm going with Curtis Axel.
Okay. Curtis Axel's been really bad. He's very, very dull as well. And in a way, in a perverse way, I got more enjoyment out of the MMA fighters.
At least you can laugh at it.
But I can't go past them for being the worst newcomers of the year because Jesus, what a comical misstep from a comically mismanaged company that was. It's almost like a parody of a wrestling company in a way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, if you had like your video game wrestling where you manage your own wrestling company, those simulations, where if you were trying to purposely bankrupt the company, they hire these two past-it sports stars and give them massive contracts,
Yeah.
Whereas Curtis Axel, I think, still has limited liability. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the MMA guys definitively. Cool. That's my final answer, Chris.
Cool. Fair enough.
Good choice. So, best newcomer of the year?
Well, we have to say definitively the worst newcomers of the year: Tito Jackson and
Rampage Ortiz.
Rampage. Okay, and now best newcomer of the year.
I would consider nominees would have to be Paige, Roman Reigns.
Should have last year, aren't they?
I think you. Well, they debuted in November of last year. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's a very loose definition of the year.
Well, what?
Well, they were new. They didn't debut this year, but it's still their rookie year. Went up until November of this year.
Possibly. But...
It's 11 out of 12, you know?
Who else we got? Jojo.
The thing with newcomer of the year is, are we taking into account here future potential, or are we only
I think
judging
just
them
the time
on?
they've had so
We're
far.
judging on what they've done so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, I'm going to take another little trip to the old WWE roster.
Well, I could cheat and say Sami Zayn.
Hasn't actually been on telly though.
Yes, but we're counting NXT.
Oh, are we, Paul?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we can count.
Oh,
It airs on Sky Sports over here, so don't come at me with your American. It's not on Matt Tiller. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Same place you watch the football.
what? VIP Sports Streams.tv.
I'm still laughing about that guy I tried to fight.
that was feud of the year for me.
I probably would have tried to RKO him in my inebriated state. Anyway, Rockstar Spud.
Oh, God. My only pick would really be Ethan Carter III, which
For best?
yeah, not worst. I don't think he's been brilliant, but I just can't think of anyone else.
Well, I've only watched one or two impacts with him on,
Yeah,
and I just didn't get him at all. I thought his delivery was wooden. I thought the character was a bit.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't
Nothing.
get what the furore is around this guy.
There are at least two I'd go with before I go with Ethan Carter. Carter. First of all, Fandango debuted this year, and although he sort of lately has descended into a bit of a nothingy, I enjoyed Fandango at start with his fun, where you get people to say his name. That's a little bit like Alberto Del Rio's wink, where I thought it was a great affectation that they just stopped using.
You know what? My pick for this is Summer Rae.
When did Renee Young start with the
My pick for this is Renee Young.
Well, again, I have my number one pick, but he did debut on December 17th, 2012. So I don't know if that's going to be disqualified.
it's a biggie.
Biggie Langston, yeah.
I think that's a good pick.
I think that account is close enough.
I mean, it's 2 weeks before the end of the year.
Yeah, and didn't do a whole lot before then.
I really liked him when he was part of that stable with AJ and Dolph. I thought that was a really good stable. I don't know why they got rid of it so soon. Yeah, I think Big E is probably my favorite of the year.
I don't really like him.
Why not? I do.
He's fine. I just.
I liked him. I must say, I did like him more as the enforcer of that team. I thought that was a great little dynamic they had with the three of them. And yeah, I think as a singles, I mean, he's fine. I think even though he's in NXT, he was sort of a natural babyface. I think he works better as that sort of heel enforcer. Yeah. So what isn't he like the IC champion now or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's not been a huge year for newcomers. I definitely.
Oh, what about
put Big E.
Dingy? No,
Oh,
Husky
yeah.
Harris.
Bray
Walker.
I don't know, I've been a little underwhelmed with that whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
I must say.
Yeah, me too. I've been tipping on this.
I only really liked it the first week. I thought it was cool the first week. And, meh, since not been particularly good. I'm going to go with Big E as my pick.
Okay. I'm going to stick with Ethan Carter with the 3.
The
So
third.
Joe, you've the deciding vote. Renee Young or Big E?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think I'll go with Big E.
Hang on, let me see when Renee Young did begin the company.
She doesn't count.
Ah, no, she made her on-screen debut 29th March 2013 on SmackDown.
There you go.
Biggie Langston wins.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Big E Langston, Best Newcomer of the Year 2013. So let's move from there, from that fine award, to the worst, let's say worst segment of the year. Worst TV segment of the year.
Lots of contenders.
Tito Ortiz hitting Rampage Jackson with a hammer. Most stuff involving aces and eights. Or towards the end.
Just off the top of my head, I think Dixie Carter begging Hulk Hogan not to leave as he legitimately walks out of the company is going to be high on the list of the old reasons TNA eventually dies as one of those like just bizarre why did they do that deals. I'm trying to think back to early in the year.
Yeah, I found it very hard to remember this year. It's always difficult. It's always difficult to remember stuff at the end of the year, but
because we have shitty memories.
I don't think I've paid attention as much this year either.
Let me see. Last year we gave it to Kane dragged Zack Ryder to hell.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's nothing that like that this year.
No.
How about that first intro segment for the Total Divas, where what's her face slapped Jerry Lawler.
God, yeah.
Who was that?
Eva Marie, she slapped Jerry Lawler. It was like the introduction of all the cast
God, I
of the Total
remember
Divas.
that. Yeah, I remember it. Jerry Lawler was just confused. That musical chairs they did lately was bad as well.
Yeah, that came to my mind first, and that reminded me of the introduction.
Let me think now. I would say Curtis Axel beating Triple H with the concussion that time was pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty
Triple
bad.
H's
Yeah.
acting,
Pretty
yeah.
bad.
Another one that sprang to mind for me. I can't remember if it aired on TV, but everyone saw it. It was Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter breaking character to address Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
And talking about my friend
man.
Jose.
That first Zeb Coulter segment was also really ramshackle and weird, and not. It got that angle off to a bad start, considering how good I thought Zeb ultimately became. Zeb is an interesting pick we could have mentioned, by the way, for what you call it,
Newcomer.
Yeah. I mean, I realize he's like 100 years old, but like
Been wrestling
That's
since
a new
before we were born.
yeah, but it's a new character.
Yeah.
And it's very good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else was really bad this year. A lot of the Big Show stuff later in the year. I don't know whether it was a specific segment. Like some of them weren't necessarily bad, but Big Show driving out in a truck for some reason.
Stone Cold Big Show.
God. This is a really tough one. I think that's a good thing, though, that there isn't, again, a standout, horrible segment like we had last year. Kane pushed Zack Ryder off the stage in a wheelchair. Oh, God.
Shite.
I think that's because Kane hasn't been around so much as his horrible character. He was sort of a babyface for most of the year.
I could see you voting for the announcers taking selfies during matches, the Brawling Buddies ad at the TLC pay-per-view.
Oh god, yeah.
Any of the segments where it's product placement that they try and masquerade as something else.
How about them doing a vote for the name of the new title, and then going, "Yeah, we're not doing that."
Yeah, but that wasn't like bad.
Unified title.
I'm sure there was a horrible Miz TV segment in particular that I can't remember.
So what are we going to pick a worst of the ones we've come up with then?
I'm going with the Total Divas intro thing.
Slapping Jerry Lawler.
I think I'll stick with Del Rio. Not Del Rio, Swagger and Coulter.
So it's up to me then. I have to make the Sophie's choice. Let me think now. Swagger and Del Rio, I really didn't like, but just because it stinks so much of WWE's obsession with being accepted by the mainstream, which really grates on me.
Yeah.
But then the Total Diva segment was on TV.
Yeah.
And was awful.
Yeah, YouTube apparently more canon than NXT.
Seen by more people, so
I highly doubt that.
Definitely is.
No.
Just gonna Google that.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with. It's so tough. There's so many reasons to go for either side. I'm gonna go with the Total Divas.
Yeah.
Only because the Zeb's Coulter one was actually ably performed.
I suppose so.
Even though it was completely annoying, and I hate that WWE keep doing this shit. The Total Divas one was a mess of segment, and I don't like Total Divas. I don't watch it, so I'm gonna go for Total Divas. Yeah, but that wasn't before she slapped him. Wasn't she being all like sucking up to him, and then she just slapped him out of nowhere? Or something like that? Wasn't something dumb like that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it was. Anyway, we'll go for Total Divas introduction as the worst segment of the year.
Can we? Oh, wasn't the Miz in that segment as well? It was a Miz TV segment, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Lawler went and sat down. Why was he even there?
Can we also vote for the 2011 worst moment?
What was the
Because we
2011?
never actually decided which one was worst.
Oh.
Okay, what were
The three we came up with were Can I Wear Your Blazer? Featuring CM Punk and Triple H.
Of course.
Sting versus Jeff Hardy, featuring huge amounts of painkillers. And I Love You Pop, starring Triple H and Vince McMahon as
it's gotta be I Love You Pop, doesn't it?
It's gotta be I Love You Pop.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially since this has been the year of the McMahons, I'm in the mood to give them a shitty award.
Especially since that was the storyline of Triple H coming out to write Vince out of storyline, and Vince is still there. I love you, Pop. And he called him Pop. He called him Pop. Jesus. Okay. What was last year's worst segment? Oh, we thought Kane dragged Zack Ryder to hell. And did we do one in 20?
No, not in 2010.
No, we didn't, because we didn't do any awards in 2010. We did like Best WrestleMan of the Year. Okay, so Total Divas. Then we go to Best Segment of the Year. And in fact, I think I have like two standout ones that I think I'm going to go with one of them. I'm just going to look through, open this up. Last year, our best moment was... God, where is it? Best segment of the year. We also had a three-way split last year.
Okay.
We had Brock Lesnar's "What's that run down his leg? Piss" interview.
Oh, yeah.
We had the Yes Chance on the post-Mania Raw,
Yeah.
and we had Brock Lesnar's return.
This year, I am solidly behind Dolph Ziggler's championship win the night after Mania.
Yeah, I did think of that.
The only problem with that is how inconsequential it turned out to be.
Well, my other top pick would be.
But then it's a segment, so we're not judging it on.
Yeah,
exactly.
just on its own. Right.
Self-contained. Yeah. The other top runner I would say would be Mark Henry's fake retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of my two. The fake retirement.
The tank.
Yeah. Well, my two are Bully Ray winning the title of Lockdown and screaming at Brooke Hogan and Hulk Hogan outside the ring going, "You stupid bitch!" And she was crying. But I think my favorite segment of the year is when Mark Henry and John Cena. I think that was the best written and especially performed segment of the year. And again, the criticism would be that it didn't really lead to any better TV. Like, it was the standout moment of the feud was that first segment. But I don't think there's been a better made segment of TV this year than Mark Henry with his salmon colored jacket.
Yeah. I couldn't really. I struggled to remember many segments from this year. One I did like was Cody Rhodes' promo after he got fired.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And he accused the McMads of having a decades-long vendetta against the Rhodes family. He stormed out. That was a very good promo. But yeah, it was the Mark Henry thing, or Ziggler.
I think the Ziggler one was slightly overrated, though.
Oh, I don't know.
As a segment, I just think people were saying at the time like it's the best cash in ever.
No,
I don't think it is. I don't think it's even top 3. You know. Yeah, I guess I just don't rate that cash in as highly as others do, especially since the World Heavyweight Championship was sort of meaningless at that stage anyway. Yeah, for me, it's definitely going to be Mark Henry.
Yeah, I'm happy to vote for Mr. Henry.
Yeah, same.
Okay, good job, Mark. One thing I'll say is I don't like his little bald head now.
Oh, I like it.
No, it's too flat and weird looking, and he looks uneven now.
But I never liked the dreadlocks.
I think the dreadlocks worked. I think they worked. Okay. So that's our best. What do we give best to in past years? I mentioned that we had a 3-way split last year, and in 2011 we had CM Punk leaves with the WWE title, of course.
Yes. Amazing.
And The Rock returns.
All-time great moments.
Back in 2011.
Simpler times.
Yeah. Let's move on to worst feud of the year. Now, this doesn't encapsulate just a moment, but an entire angle, an entire storyline. Last year's worst feud of the year was John Cena versus Kane, featuring the death of Zack Ryder.
Oh god.
In 2011, we had Triple H versus The Locker Room as the worst feud of the year, and in 2010, we did have a worst angle of the year, which was we had a 2-way split. We had Kane versus Edge on SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
Featuring
Paul Bearer dying.
Featuring Upstairs, Downstairs, with Paul Bearer. That's not what the show was called. What was that show in Neil Buchanan called? Finders Keepers. Excuse me.
No idea what you people are referencing.
And
I thought Neil Buchanan was in Right to Censor.
I think it was Scotland Rocks.
And Barry picked that year the firing of John Cena in 2010.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh,
so good picks all around.
Worst feud this year. I'm gonna have to go Aces and Eights and TNA, I think.
I think I've got a worse one. Featuring the NXT champion and a certain Wade Barrett.
Oh yeah.
That was a feud.
It lasted at least a few weeks. I think it ended with... Well, it didn't end, did it? Bo Dallas beat him twice.
Kind of peeled out.
And that was it. They decided they didn't like Bo Dallas anymore, so... that was their finish. And Barrett was, of course, the IC champion at the time.
Yeah, that's true. Although I think there's a worse feud that took up more TV time and included the Big Show driving out in a truck for some reason, where Triple H bought the Big Show's house and the Big Show had spent all his money on a mall or something, which was a half-assed way of shoehorning the Big Show into the main event feud over Daniel Bryan. He had a match with Randy Orton, which was atrocious. And then they sent him back to the mid-card. What a complete waste of time that was. With no explanation about how any of this happened.
It's alright, they only had to sacrifice Daniel Bryan for that, so...
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
It was a feud that had no satisfactory beginning, content, or ending. Big Show just suddenly had no money out of nowhere. I'd never mentioned before.
Oh, also his ironclad contract. Well, no, he still had.
Yeah, they're like,
he still had the ironclad
never mind
contract.
that.
It just wasn't ironclad anymore.
Yeah, they're like, you and me know that contract's nothing, Big Show. It's like, what? What do you mean? And
he also had to punch Dusty Rhodes, and then gently lay him down on the floor.
Put him to bed. Took a bit.
He punched him out onto a giant pillow.
Yeah, he punched some people and not others, which was never explained really why. And then he had this $1 million lawsuit that would result in the Authority losing control of the company that he traded in for a world title match, which he lost. So, therefore, my vote for worst feud of the year is Big Show versus the Authority.
Very good.
Which, in some ways, was worse than Kane versus John Cena.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
about
let's
that.
not go mad.
At least Kane and John Cena had a man in a wheelchair being pushed off the stage.
That's true.
Barry,
Yep.
what do you think about the feuds of this year? The worst of them?
I'm sticking with Aces and Eights and TNA.
Oh,
It was so long. It was so long, and it was so boring. And so many of the major players, with the exception of Bully Ray, basically were miscast and not very good in their roles, or green, or just
Yeah, Tito
Not a
Ortiz, for example.
yeah. Not a big fan of any of that at all.
well, there you go. We have a three-way tie.
Yeah.
I guess we can decide next year. which was
We'll
the
come back
worst.
to that one in 2015, alright?
Yeah. So the three we came over were Big Show versus the Authority, Ace and Eights and TNA, and Bo Dallas versus White Barra. Bad News Barrett, as he's now called.
Bad gimmick. Bad.
So how about the best feud of the year?
Again, slim pickings, this one, I thought. There were a lot of feuds this year, but they were either boring or incredibly short.
There's one that I really liked,
Go on.
which I guess sorts almost encapsulates 2 or 3 different feuds, but it's one overarching story. Is CM Punk versus Paul Heyman?
It was very overdrawn, I thought.
I didn't really enjoy any of those matches, to be honest, except Lesnar Punk.
Lesnar Punk. I've quite from the time Heyman turned on Punk at Money in the Bank, all the way up. I know the Ryback match was nothing, and especially the handicap.
And the
match was
Curtis
nothing.
Axel stuff as well.
Well, that's what I mean. But all the Heyman Punk interplay I quite enjoyed. I thought Heyman, even with Heyman with Ryback, I thought a lot of those segments were great. Like when he kissed Ryback on the cheek and Ryback went, ah! And the time he tried to propose to Ryback, I thought it was another great segment.
I did like the Muppet kiss, but I don't think that's enough to make it my feud of the year.
Right.
For me, I went for some people we've already mentioned a few times in other categories. It was the Shield versus the Rhodes family.
Another good one, I gotta say.
Went for a few months there, or maybe a couple of months.
Well, there's definitely a feud which had a lot of great matches in it.
Yeah, great matches. The whole the whole storyline of them getting fired as well, and Dusty Rhodes coming in, and yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that's a fair pick as well. I really enjoyed the matches. I thought the feud was very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm after spilling shit all over myself. Yeah. You know those little refresher bars. Yeah. Swizzles Matlow, the little blue and yellow refresher bars. I'm after opening one now.
Dust.
Went all over my bed.
I got a tube of refreshers for Christmas.
That's what I have here.
Yeah.
Listen.
So good.
Yeah. It was only like a quarter full though. That's legit. It was a little bag in it. When you open the bag and pour them in, it's like a third full.
The Walker's approach.
Yeah, ridiculous. So what feuds have you enjoyed, Barry?
I enjoyed Daniel Bryan versus the Shield in all its different connotations and forms. I thought the match quality was through the roof. I thought the big fight atmosphere was great. I enjoyed all the characters. Thumbs up for them. I think Daniel Bryan and Shield were sort of symbiotic in each other's rise. I think it was great that they both came along. Well, Bryan's been around for a while, but I think it's great that they both came along at the same time and kind of ascended together through the ranks. It's just guaranteed success. John Cena and Mark Henry was good, but it was brief, not a whole load to it. John Cena and Daniel Bryan had some great promos together, but the writing in general for that feud was weak. They held up there, and I don't think creative did. If I was to,
you haven't nominated any indie stuff this year yet, Barry, which was a staple of years gone by. You'd nominate Flippy Magoo versus Bongo McDongo, and me and Paul go, "Whoa, that's not even us."
I have a pick or two in that field for.
I love Bongo McDongo.
It's good, to be fair, but
I have a pick or two for them for the match of the year or what have you. But feud wise, I mean, like from a pure match quality standpoint, I like Tanahashi versus Okada is like a once in a generation levels of match quality. But it's it's not like I connect to that feud as anything more than a series of wrestling matches, which might as well be happening in a vacuum to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
AJ and Caitlyn was okay. They could have fleshed, given those two have a very well documented friendship, they could have fleshed that out a lot better.
I'd flesh her out a lot better.
I would go with Daniel Bryan versus the Shield.
Okay, we've got another 3-way tie.
God.
Oh my god. I don't know what that says about whether there's been a lot of really good feuds or that there's not been a one standout excellent feud.
I think there has not been a one standout excellent feud. I think it's definitely a case of that.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll come back to that in 2032 and decide ultimately with the added hindsight which was the best feud of the year. Now again, we're getting into the big awards here, folks. Worst pay-per-view of the year.
I think there's an easy pick. It'd probably be Battleground.
Yeah, I think a lot of the later ones were pretty bad. I'm gonna have a look at the.
I think there's another one. So Battleground did have the Rhodes and the Shield on it.
Yeah.
I actually watched it this morning. But the other one was the Night of Champions, which didn't have a single redeeming match on it.
I'm just looking now at Hell in the Cell, which is pretty bad as well. Survivor Series.
Survivor Series might have been worse than Battleground.
I think Survivor Series might be my the one that I enjoyed the least. Although that did have a quite good Survivor Series match.
Yeah, but that was more kind of storyline. Like they didn't have a killer match. It was just really cool the stuff they did with Reigns. But it's not like the match was super. Like the Battleground tag match was awesome, and everything else on Survivor Series I would have considered very, very average or below that, including the main event, which was terrible.
Yeah. Well, you had Big E, Curtis Axel, that Divas match, Mark Henry and Ryback, John Cena Del Rio, Punk Bryan against the Wyatts, which I guess was decent, and then Orton Big Show. I'm gonna have a look at Night of Champions now. Refresh my memory here. Night of Champions had Curtis Axel against Kofi Kingston, AJ Lee against a load of Divas, Rob Van Dam against Del Rio, The Miz Fandango, that CM Punk handicap match with Axel and Bayley, Ambrose Ziggler, The Shield against his primetime players, which I don't even remember, and Daniel Bryan against Randy Orton.
Where he stripped for the title the next night. After the 3 count with the unusual cadence.
That cadence isn't right, Scott. Yeah. Night of Champions. Now it's refreshing.
Unless I didn't see Survivor Series, that could I might have voted for that. But...
I think although Survivor Series had the terrible main event, Survivor Series at least had a decent match on it, or two. Whereas this Night of Champions, yeah, I'll probably go. I don't know. It's going to be one of these two, I think. Battleground. Though Hell in a Cell is pretty bad as well.
I didn't mind the main event, to be honest.
No, you know what? I'm going to go with Survivor Series.
Yeah, I think that's the best pick.
Okay.
Because Survivor Series opened with a decent match, and then everything after that was a complete waste of time. So that wasted 2.5 hours in a row, 2.5 consecutive hours of my life.
Yeah.
And it also had that 12-minute Divas tag team match.
I should watch that.
Which was atrocious, baby.
I'm gonna watch Survivor Series.
Don't. Don't waste your life. So on the other hand, the best pay-per-view of the year. Now we had a few between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, we had a run where there was a few quite good pay-per-views. I'm thinking SummerSlam was probably up there.
Yeah,
as the best.
Looking through them, to me, it's the only one that jumps out.
Yeah,
with Lesnar, Punk, and Bryan Cena. Also, I think Del Rio Christian wasn't bad either. So.
Yeah, I think that had 2 excellent matches at least. I think even WrestleMania this year was a bit of a letdown. Although it had that Undertaker Punk match, which was very good. Triple H and Lesnar was fine. Rock Cena was fine. Although the Shield, Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show was alright as well. Yeah, I think for best I'd probably go for SummerSlam. SummerSlam had 2 excellent matches on it.
At the time, I liked the post-match angle as well. Although they didn't lead to much good.
Yeah, at the time it was pretty good. I'd probably go for SummerSlam as a pay-per-view of the year.
Me too.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Joe did mention my lack of indie contributions thus far. That night 2 of Battle of Los Angeles this year was like among the best PWG shows ever. It was unbelievable. I strongly put it over previously. They had a bunch of other shows this year that I thought were good, but I don't know if I would put anything above. I got Brock Lesnar and CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and John Cena getting 2 matches like that on one card on WWE with an insane crowd. I mean, that was that.
Well, the last time we got something like that was Extreme Rules with Cena, Lesnar, and Bryan Sheamus. So just to have a look back at some of our past awards again. Best feud of the year last year, we had a 3-way split. between Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, Joseph Park and Buddy Ray, and Brock Lesnar, John Cena. That seems like a poor year, I gotta say.
Not keen on anything.
Because I remember that Brock Lesnar Cena one being pretty poor for the majority of the feud, with contract disputes and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
In 2011, best feud was CM Punk John Cena, and in 2010, best angle of the year was the Nexus debut in 2010. We also had card of the year 2011 was Extreme Rules, and the worst was Elimination Chamber. 2011 best card of the year was Money in the Bank 2011, of course, with Cena Punk, and the worst was WrestleMania 27, headlined by The Miz versus John Cena. And in 2010 we had worst show of the year, TNA Turning Point and Extreme Rules. We had a two-way split there. And best show of the year, Old School Raw, the first Old School Raw, Glory by Honor 9. Guess who voted
I
for
have
that
no
one?
recollection what was even on that card.
And No Surrender.
I don't remember what was on that one either.
Well, there you go. So we're down to our last two categories here as we round out the CSP 2013 Academy Awards. First of all, let's go for worst match of the year.
Nothing jumps out at me immediately.
I always feel like when it comes to worst match of the year, I don't know whether it's sexist to say, but I always think it's unfair to go the Diva match where the stupid woman didn't sell good.
Well, yeah, if you say it like that, sure.
If you say it like a misogynist, it does become sexist, you know. Well, before we talk about the worst match of the year, we can go back to some past year's worst match of the year. We had last year the famous TNA gut check between Gunner and Chris Louis,
man,
with his sad wife at ringside going, "Why did I marry this bum?" 2011 we had Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler at WrestleMania, of course. And in 2010, worst match of the year, we had a two-way split between Caitlyn versus Maxine on NXT and Vince McMahon versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 26.
nothing that
How about-
catastrophic this year, I don't think.
No, I think they've kept the for the most part, they've kept the non-wrestlers out of the ring. We've not had like the Johnny Ace match. We've not had Paul Heyman in a singles match. Anytime he was in a match, they'd have the wrestler do the work. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking we're going to have to go for one of these horrific Divas matches where Eva Marie forgets to sell, or worst match of the year.
Her debut match on Raw was pretty terrible. That was the one that I recall being noticeably, you know.
Yeah, that's the one where they put her in with the. Is that feedback on my end? Is it?
I don't hear anything. Well, I hear a little bit of. Yeah.
It's probably me. I don't know where that's coming from. There we go. Stop there. Worst match. It's a tough one. Worst match of the year. Yeah, like you say, I'm not sure that there's been many really horrible matches. I think that's again a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of an easy pick, but I mean, you could maybe go with something like Miz and Kofi from TLC.
But that's more to do. I think that's more apathy of Miz Kofi again, and they're annoying, rather than it being a bad match. You know.
Yeah.
Big Show Orton possibly.
Yeah, I think that's a fair pick.
Especially since it was a main event. That match was so. It was poorly performed and dull, I would say. I remember Randy Orton going for the big DDT, and Big Show's legs just fell off the ropes. They just DDT'd him and went, look how muscly
Yeah, that's good.
What about you, Joe?
Royal Rumble.
The entire Royal
Yeah,
Rumble?
nothing.
Was it that bad?
Yep.
I don't even remember who won.
It ended with Sheamus, Ryback, and John Cena.
That's true, I suppose.
I think my final pick though would be the Ring of Fire match.
Oh my god!
The first
completely forgot
ever
about that
Ring
match.
of Fire match.
Yeah.
That had a run in.
I think I'd probably agree with that. Oh my god, I completely blocked that out of my mind.
They couldn't do anything because there's fire around the ring.
So they just grabbed the big cover at ringside and just threw it over the fire and it went out.
Insane.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. That was Bray Wyatt's first match as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I could
Get on board with that. The Ring of Fire match.
I'm sure technically there were matches with really bad moves and selling, but the whole concept of that was awful.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go along with that. Especially when they were like, we're having a fire match. But don't worry, because they were not allowed to put each other on fire or something. Which completely took any intrigue away from the match. Like, why not have the match? That's like saying we're having a Hell in a Cell match, but they're not allowed to go on top of the cell
and
or any
Paul,
blood.
And Paul starts protesting and saying, well, if they're not going on top of the cell, I'm just going to set myself on fire.
Yeah, I go along with Ring of Fire. Kane versus whatever your man's name is, Wade Bride. That's the worst match of the year. That's a good pick. And now the one the world's been waiting for. It's the CSP best match of the year for 2013.
Who doggy?
Ooh-wee. See, there are a few here that do stand out, but I don't know that we're all going to pick the same one.
We all pick the same one.
No.
I don't think we will. I think there'd be a little bit of coercion here.
Controversy.
My favorite match of the year was the Shield against the Rhodes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was probably in the top 5.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that good though, I think.
I think it was. I really got into it. I really enjoyed that match. I thought the story was excellent with Dusty. And the big baby face victory, and the crowd got so into it. Yeah, I don't know whether it was. This is where it becomes subjective as well, because what is it? What is the best match, or what is your favorite match?
We're not
what I mean?
going to foolishly aspire to some ridiculous idea of objectivity. It is. We're going to try and pick as a team what our favorite match is, but it's not. No, we're not saying. This is how you define a great match, and this match suits that best. That's silliness.
Yeah, well, my favorite match of the year was Ghost and Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. But that being said, John Cena and Daniel Bryan was pretty good from SummerSlam.
That would have been my runner-up, I think.
You got Lesnar, Punk. You got Punk, Undertaker.
Nice.
But I think I enjoyed Goldust Cody against the Shield more than all of them, with Dusty Rhodes doing the little elbow, the Goldust taking out Roman Reigns as he goes for the spear, and Cody hits the most perfect crossroads of all time on Seth Rollins.
The amazing celebrations as well.
Exactly, yeah. Like when I think I mentioned it when we were talking about it at the time. To me, it felt like a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
When the Rhodes family came out united together, it felt like this is a match. This is a match that should be happening at WrestleMania. It seems like a little waste on Battleground, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed that match.
I was considering that. I was considering Bryan Cena. Eventually, I came down to what I probably always knew was my favourite match. It was on Raw back in February.
Oh,
and it was CM Punk versus John Cena, #1.
Featuring the pile driver.
Featuring the powerbomb, the pile driver, and just amazing from start to finish.
What a great match.
It was 95% perfect.
It was
the only flaw was the Hurricane Rana at the end. John Cena just fell on his head. But apart from that,
and the commentator's like, "I never done a seat."
Yeah, I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, that's why.
Just did a fucking self-inflicted pile driver.
That being said, it was a very good match, though. I would say it was definitely the TV match of the year, for sure. Barry.
Well, this is where I'm splitting from the path, and I'm going indie-rific on this one. I'm going with Kyle O'Reilly versus ACH from Night 2 of Battle of Los Angeles, and a mind-blowing match of like spectacle in the ring and heat, the likes of which most major promotions would kill for, and just perfect commentary. That match, I mean, for like a quarterfinal in the middle of a 2-night weekend of shows, it completely stole the show. Kyle O'Reilly had a phenomenal year. He's awesome. ACH is like one of my favorite newcomers. I wouldn't give him best debut or anything like that because I think he's been around for a few years, but he's really broken out this year. A phenomenal match. Although my close number two, because I love this match as well, would be Brock and CM Punk from SummerSlam. I was expecting good things going into that match, but it way overachieved even by the high standards I had, given who's in it.
Yeah, it was really good, I gotta say. So we have a three-way split again. Are we gonna try to decide on one definitive one? Or are we gonna...
I don't know if I would bandwagon on the road match. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know if I would. I could maybe concede, and as a unit, if we want to try and have one definitive pick, I could maybe go with the Punk Cena match.
Yeah, I think I would. That would be. I definitely have that in my top 3, along with Cena and Bryan.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to go from 1 to 3, I'd have the tag match, Cena Bryan, and then Punk Bryan, or Punk Cena. Sorry. So it'd definitely be top 3. So yeah, if you want to bandwagon that one, I'd go along with that.
Okay.
Although I did have that Hurricane Rana.
That was the only bad spot.
Yeah, there were no bad spots in my one, though.
It wasn't as good.
CM Punk versus John Cena is the match of the year. And it wasn't even on a pay-per-view.
I think that's been the story of the year, really, though.
Okay. Now we're on to our final award. We go just in last few years. In 2012, the match here was Brock Lesnar versus John Cena.
Great match.
Awesome match. I have that Blu-ray, and I've never gotten around to watching it. The Extreme Rules show.
Yeah. In 2011 match here, CM Punk versus John Cena. Again, so that's 3 straight years John Cena's been a match of the year. Almost like good wrestler or something.
That's like I'm mad.
Well, let's let the facts speak for themselves.
I was joking.
Hey, I'll fight you.
John Cena's a great man.
Well, did you ever see him hit the rope?
Thing is, though, John Cena,
Leg
I would
in the
love
air,
him
baby.
if he wasn't so instantaneously annoying whenever he appears anywhere in front of a camera. I would think he was brilliant.
Best match in 2010 was Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler. Of course. And now we're on to the final category. We have the worst wrestler of the year, which in 2011 was called the Never Mind That Shit. Here comes Mongo Mong of the year.
I noticed that. I was like, nice. PC.
Catchy name.
Why did we drop that for 2012? Last year's worst wrestler of the year, by the way, was Ryback. Yeah. 2011 we went with Crimson and Matt Hardy were our two
Good
picks.
picks all around.
And in 2010, worst wrestler was Kane and Sting in 2010. So who's been the worst wrestler this year? Yeah. I'd go along with The Miz, I gotta say.
My suggestion was going to be Curtis Axel.
Yeah, I think the difference between The Miz and Curtis Axel is I don't like Curtis Axel because he's so dull. Yeah. But The Miz actively annoys me.
Well, I mean, I hate The Miz, so yeah. And he was a face this year. And
exactly.
you had the whole Ric Flair passing the torch thing.
Yeah. And that time he tried to do the figure four and couldn't figure out how to do it. No pun intended. Yeah, I think The Miz has had a particularly bad year. Curtis Axel's been bad. Has he been bad or has he just been very boring?
Both.
Because he came in with that big fanfare. Paul Heyman.
Well, I mean, they tried to make it look like he had fanfare, but everyone was laughing and rolling their eyes at it, you know? It was like, that was such a doomed project in the beginning.
Yeah. I'd go along with The Miz, I gotta say. Yeah, I can't think of too many more who have routinely stunk up the joint as The Miz
I'm
has.
happy to go with that.
Fair enough. That was easy.
Well, there you go. Mong of the year.
The Mong of Michael Memorial Mong of the Year. Mike Nizzle.
Yeah. And it's our last award of the night. The Lex Luger Total Package of the Year. Best Wrestler of the Year. In past years, we had winners such as CM Punk in 2012. We had Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler share the award in 2011. And we had Rey Mysterio and Daniel Bryan share the award in 2010. So 2013's Wrestler of the Year.
Well, if you're talking about total package, you're talking about wrestling, you're talking about on the mic,
yeah,
you're talking about all round. For me, there's only one man. His name
is he yourself?
No, not yet. He's Daniel Bryan.
I was going to say Daniel Bryan.
This is interesting. I was going to say
good matches.
I was going to say CM Punk.
Well, that is interesting as well.
I thought he said. I think he said the better mic presence than Bryan, but he has lacked the consistent match quality. Bryan has had the consistent match quality. Punk has had the occasionally exceptionally awesome match, but not the consistently great ones that Bryan has. So, of course, I can absolutely get on board with Bryan as the Wrestler of the Year.
Well, when it comes to the total package, like Joe mentioned, you take into account all aspects. But, I mean, ultimately, you just have to decide who have you enjoyed most? Who's given you the most hours of enjoyment? Not to always harp on my enjoyment points scheme. But but I will. Who have I enjoyed most this year? And I gotta say, I think Daniel Bryan has given me the most this year from Team Hell No at the start of the year all the way up to his free shot at the title, courtesy of John Cena, to his feud with Randy Orton. Yeah, I think Daniel Bryan. I think CM Punk's been good, but he's sort of languished in bad feuds for a lot of the year. I mean, it's not say bad feuds, sorry, bad matches. Whether it be with the Wyatts, with Axel, Ryback. What? I didn't mind that.
I did.
Okay, well, I didn't. I'd still put Daniel Bryan above. I just think he's given the fans something new.
I think he's the most over as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I just think he's given the fans something new to look forward to. You know.
Yeah.
And I always said when we voted R-Truth as the character of the year back in whenever that was. No, the heel R-Truth.
Yeah, you still sang that.
I think I mentioned. No, he didn't. He had a different song where he's like, "Y'all stupid in your mouth." Or something. Didn't he have alternate lyrics to it? Like, blam in your mouth. I mentioned how it's always great when you have that one character that people like to tune in to see, and that was missing for a while. But I think with Dan Bryan, for at least a few months, people had that character that they would tune in to watch. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Daniel Bryan, the first two-time recipient of the
Of
Total
course.
Package of the
When
Year.
did he win it for? Was it 2010?
2010, he was joint winner with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Daniel Bryan.
Well done, Daniel.
Yeah.
I noticed in
Well done,
2011 we did the Chris Blake flop of the year award, which went to Sin Cara. I'm not sure the flop of the year this year would be.
Sin Cara.
Dolph Ziggler, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
What about the...
He was on the pre-show with Brodus or someone. He made it at TLC in 2012, and this year at TLC he was on the
Fandango.
pre-show.
Yeah, fair enough.
Losing to Fandango. How much further can he flop? He won the world title and got a concussion almost immediately.
Yeah.
Had the world title taken away from him. Had his little team taken away from him. Had his spirit taken away from him. What's the man got left? He's got nothing
He's
left.
broken, man.
Well, online moment of the year.
Well, online
Previous
moments of the
winner
year
was the
for
big
sure.
guy.
For sure would be Daniel Bryan singing that Kane is super smelly. And then Kane kicking Hornswoggle and going, it's a midget.
Online moment of the year is the whirlwind romance between Barry Ladd and Renee Young.
I was voting the campaign to get Fandango to number 1. It shouldn't work.
I think Kane kicking Hornswoggle is not going to be vegan.
we'll just
Renee
leave that
kicked him in the
this year.
balls recently.
Why has he always been kicked?
It's a running joke. What else are you going to do with him?
Well, we also in 2010 had best character and worst characters of the year. Is there a best gimmick this year?
No.
I think I quite liked Gay Paul Heyman.
When was he gay?
He kissed
Ryback.
Ryback. I wanted to marry him. But no, it was heavily implied that there was a romantic relationship between him and his Ryback.
I don't think that was heavily implied, sir.
I think it was. Well, I inferred it anyway.
They're implying your dreams.
As I furiously went at myself whilst watching Raw. Worst character is probably Brodus's I'm a main event man, or whatever he says now. While being rolled up by Fernando of the Matadors or whatever's happening to him. So what we did in past years as well was we do our prognostications as to who's going to have a good 2014 and who's going to have a bad old year. Last year we were pretty good last year, I gotta say. Our picks for a good 2013 were Big E Langston, current IC champion, Dean Ambrose, current US champion, Jesse Goddard's current TNA Tag Team champion, Antonio Cesaro, who at the time was a boring Swiss heel. Yeah, is now.
Oh god, worst gimmick of the year. Antonio Cesaro yodeling.
Oh, for sure. Now he swings people around and the crowd like him. Adam Cole, Ring of Honor champion.
ROH
I think,
and
isn't he?
PWG, yeah.
Daniel Bryan, 2-time WWE champion, and AJ Lee, current women's champion. That was a pretty good round of picks
not bad.
for good future prospects. And to have a bad year, we picked Dolph Ziggler. We were on the nail on the head of that one. Ryback and Tensai.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So, Who is going to have a good 2014?
John Cena.
Triple H.
CM
CM
Punk.
Punk, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I think Roman Reigns is for sure.
Sami Zayn.
I'd possibly go for Cesaro again.
Mm-hmm.
I think he may get a chance slightly higher up the card this year.
Yeah.
They might turn on Swagger.
Right, so we got Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Antonio Cesaro. Do we not have any goddamn Americans in here?
No. Let me think. Ethan Carter III.
Right, Joe's vetoed that.
Wow, lovely. Can you have a good year in TNA?
Well, I was going to say my bad year prediction is going to be TNA.
That is a very good pick.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
He's gonna go
For good
year.
for
Yeah, he's
a
gonna
good
come
year.
back and win the title. Bad year, I think Ziggler again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna get even worse. Ryback. Possibly Daniel Bryan.
Oh
I
really?
fear he may get lost in the tide. Especially around WrestleMania when they bring back
Especially with the Roman Reigns and Biggie Langston hype
with the
trains.
return of Batista and The Undertaker probably as well.
Yeah, that's true. I had one in my head there that I've lost. I think Zack Ryder will probably be given the boot this year
If he hasn't already.
and will win the TNA World Title
Yeah.
in his
From
first
Rockstar
match. Possibly. Currently on the roster. Ooh. I think Cody Rhodes might have a good year this year. Although they seem to always be on the verge of doing something with him, and then always for some reason.
Given his
Pulling
great
back, you know?
standing currently, I would be more inclined to pick bad year than good year. I think he is further to fall
Really?
and go up. I think,
Mm.
especially when that team
Okay.
breaks up. I think that is trouble.
Trouble,
I'll
trouble,
put
trouble,
Cody Rhodes
trouble,
under
trouble, trouble,
under could go
trouble,
either
trouble,
way.
trouble, 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 trouble.
I'm gonna say that. Who else is gonna have a good year? Who's hovering right around there? I don't know that they have that many people just underneath the top anymore. You know, it seems like there's a bigger gap now between the guys at the top and the guys who are sort of the future prospects. What about that singing guy on NXT?
Aiden
What's his name? Aiden English.
Maybe.
And I'm going to put Oliver Gray in there as well. I think this will be his year. I think he'll get
Bad
called this
year, AJ Styles.
No, I think he'll be in the Royal Rumble.
I think Layla will have a bad year this year.
Is she gonna
Has
be
she?
down?
Well, she's already been replaced by a younger model.
Yeah, I don't anticipate Layla ever coming back. Actually, I think she's gone off with Who's the other one? Ah,
Michelle McCool.
no.
Eve.
Mystica.
How is
Her
that
and
the
Mystico
other
are
one?
gone off to Mexico. Just disappeared. They replaced Layla with a tattooed Layla, and people were like, "Ooh, Layla's really good." All of a sudden,
Replaced with
she's a
JTG.
lot slower than she used to be. Well, there you go. I think that's enough picks for this year. So we'll keep that saved for next year. Yeah. So have we got anything else to say about 2013? We've covered... What was your favourite movie of the year, Joe?
I don't know.
You don't know? Favourite video game?
None of them.
Pac-Man.
Do you have any good meals this year?
Yeah.
What was your best one?
Had a meal on Boxing Day. Nice bit of steak.
Lovely.
Sticky top.
I had sticky toffee pudding today.
Well, what's coming for CSP in 2014?
Oh no, doing more of these.
3D.
Will we work out a way to record the show?
I don't know.
Will I fight a man? I will have to wait and see.
Or a woman. Never know.
More of the same.
Well, we shall see.
You know, with the continued support of the listeners, the show will continue to grow and change and do more things and just generally flourish as it has done over the course of 2013. So,
yeah. So thanks for
that's it.
emails.
Yeah, thank you very much
and
for all the
everything.
emails this week and for the past year. Thank you very much for all your contributions to the show. Tweets, retweets, follows, everything you've ever done. We do greatly appreciate it. So, all that said, we hope you have had a very nice holiday season. We hope you have a prosperous and safe 2014. But it's time for us to sign off and for me to go die. For me, Barry Murphy. For Paul Griffin. For Joe Towner.
Mm-hmm.
It is goodbye.
Happy New Year.
This podcast was brought to you by loudyspeak.com.